Hey, Tea Sippers. Mm-mm-mm. Thank you for your patience. There's a lot going on. An awful lot. And earlier today, I knew exactly where I was going and where I was going to start, but so much has unfolded since then, and so many accusations, people losing their jobs, anger and despair, no ownership. Oh, it's just, oh, it's sad. Mm, let's see what this one is. Hold on, y'all. It's just way too. Hi, Maurice. Mm, 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 mm. How did we get here? I mean, I know how, but uh, mm. Hey, Janet. Hey, AMP. I get this is the trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to thine own understanding. In all our ways acknowledge him and he will direct our path. Lord. Mm, 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 mm. So, just let me jump in. I guess trying to find a place um, when it's just so much. And I'm just so disappointed that, hey, stop playing. I'm just so disappointed that we up under what's today? The 15th. Up under a leadership that at this time refuses to take ownership and redirect in the right direction. I think that is so disappointing and disheartening. It's just so it's like, what are we doing? you, why do you want us to fight with one another? Why? And it just let me look. I mean, oh, that's about Memphis. And then now it feels like he wants to go in Memphis and start a war. Mm.
So whether you're Antifa, whether you're a domestic terrorist, whether you are a violent gang member, a drug trafficker, a trained airwalker.
And and it's funny. I'm finna turn it around because 2 years ago, I was ready for him to go to Memphis. I was asking for him to go to Memphis. So many people were losing their lives. A lot of gangs. And they wouldn't. And now they're going. And I feel like it's the wrong time now because, it's almost as if you just need something. And I can imagine, when they were getting in instructions or some intel on what's really going on in Memphis and the artillery that they use, it almost sounds like it was perfect. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Who's a cancer smoker? MPG. Let's start here, y'all. Let's start. Please hit the like button coming in.
All are here right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start with some breaking news. The distraction tour continues. Live pictures now from the White House in the Oval Office. He's surrounded by sycophants, obviously, and his cabinet, some one and the same. And he is announcing that he's going to send troops now to Memphis, Tennessee. Stephen Miller is speaking. Let's see what Stephen Miller has to say.
To get all the criminals, all the violent offenders, all the murderers, all the cartels, and all the domestic terrorists off our streets. So whether you're Antifa, whether you're a domestic terrorist, whether you are a violent gang member, a drug trafficker, a trained Chihuahua killer, or anyone else that's starting...
You know, I need for someone, someone that's honest and fair to really explain to me how you can start off. Let me.
And his cabinet, some one and the same. And he is announcing.
So we got to get rid of
now to Memphis, Tennessee.
Let's start. Let's listen.
Let's see what Stephen Miller has to say.
Come on, Stephen.
To get all the criminals.
Okay, right there. All the criminals. Okay, I need for somebody who is honest to explain to me how we're starting out saying get rid of all the criminals by any means necessary, and we have a criminal in the White House. How do we get rid of all the criminals off the streets? And we have one that's running the office. So that already means that no rules. There are no rules. Our president have a problem with following the rules, but you want to get rid of everyone that breaks them. Ooh.
All the violent offenders, all the murderers, all the cartels, and all the domestic terrorists off our streets. So whether you're Antifa, whether you're a domestic terrorist, whether you are a violent gang member, a drug trafficker, a trained Chihuahua killer, or anyone else that's threatening our people, President Trump is saying he's going to use his FBI, his DOD, his ATF, his DEA to wipe you out, to put you in bars, behind bars, to take you off the street, or to apply whatever legal consequences necessary. Mr. President, I'm honored beyond words to be a part of this team under your leadership as you've saved thousands of lives.
Thank you very much. Come on over, let's start that.
Okay. Now, let me tell you what he didn't mention. Let's see, who is that? Marsha Blackburn was speaking earlier. There you see Pam Bondi. Who else is speaking now?
See, they're from Tennessee. When you talk to them, when you talk to the actual population out there who interact with them every day, they say it's a blessing to have them as a part of their life. And then for the National Guard getting to have this where they get to improve their communities.
Oh my gosh, no one is saying that. It's that same old story every time. You know, this big guy came
Shout out to John Lennon, Don Lemon.
Didn't even cry when he was a baby, and he said to me, you know, you got to save America. Just like he told the story when he was announcing that he's going to send troops to Memphis. He said, you know, this guy said to me and said, you got to, you know, you can't give up on Chicago. You got to save Chicago. This big guy came up to me and said, you got to save Chicago. Oh, and there's a signature. He said, it looks like the signature he said wasn't a signature. Interesting. So this is what Stephen Miller didn't say, as they are all applauding each other and smelling their own farts in the Oval Office there. He didn't say anything about the number one purveyor of domestic terror in the country, the folks who carry out acts that took one of their own that they are now claiming is a civil rights leader, Charlie They're not talking about.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Charlie.
The rash or epidemic of most.
I'm not Charlie, no.
But white men radicalized to the right who are picking people off with guns. A lot of AR-15s, a lot of rifles out there by the white guys. But he didn't say anything about that. He mentioned, you know, all of the, you know, the gangs and the Antifa. And like Antifa, what is Antifa? Is not a thing, except for them. It's like a boogeyman.
I was thinking.
Black Panthers, new Black Panthers. Antifa, Black Lives Matter. And this always has to do with some, people of color, black
Hi,
people, or
Gary.
immigrants. It's just every day. It's a sycophant. So I call it the distraction tour because they go from one
Hey, Philip.
distraction to another. And their biggest distraction right now
Yep.
is them grifting off of a man's death, of someone who met a horrible end. They're grifting off of Charlie Kirk.
And want to just blame anyone.
I'm not disparaging Charlie Kirk. I'm just telling you what they are doing. And so everything is a distraction. It is a show. He loves doing this, even though it's nothing. It's an executive order. It means nothing. This is pageantry. This is show producing 101. What he is essentially doing in the Oval Office in the White House, this is The Apprentice. This is The Apprentice, not 2.0, it's 3.0, because 2.0 was the first administration, and now this is The Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice, the second administration. So it's a show. Just like all of the stuff that you see in that briefing room, a show. Nothing comes out of that. Caroline Leavitt is not the real press secretary. She's a distraction. She's the lead character in the media TV show for Donald Trump. She's a main character. Not the main character, a main character, but she carries no weight. That was Charlie Kirk. So he will be missed for that. Cover-uption is a real thing, whoever just said that in the chat. So this is down. Now, how long does it take him to say, I'm going to send troops to Memphis? Does that deserve a press conference, a briefing, signing in the office? No, but all of these people are there because it makes you think that they are doing something. And they ain't doing shit. And so, I hate to call it death grifting, but that is what's happening now with the administration. And somehow they have sanctified and deified someone who was a human being and deserves, empathy and deserves condolences in his families and did not deserve to meet that untimely death.
The kick is up. This is for the game. And it's...
Who won? Not your observability solution. Hydraulics-powered observability lets you catch the problem before it affects your customers. That's why the biggest brands trust us with the highest stakes events. From the big game to the biggest matches to the games. When performance matters and your reputation is on the line, Hydraulics delivers game-changing observability for less.
But now it is death grifting. They'll never miss an opportunity to capitalize on a scandal or a story. And so now Donald Trump is listening to the folks around and listening to him kiss his ass. I don't know if Stephen Miller is having a second turn at it. Let's.
You plan on designating
He loved it.
Antifa finally a domestic
They're taking questions.
organization?
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think we'd start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%. And others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can think of?
There are other groups, yeah. There are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with it.
I ain't never heard them
And
use
also,
Antifa in Memphis.
Speaking to the Attorney General about
When did they?
bringing
When
RICO
did?
against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation.
Hi, Jazzy girl.
These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing, where they're throwing bricks at cars of ICE and Border Patrol. And
Where are they talking about?
New car, they're so proud. It's
That's
Border
not
Patrol,
Antifa.
ICE, it's got whatever it is.
Oh,
And they're throwing rocks at it. And after 50 yards, it looks like an old beat-up vehicle. It was just brand new. It was just bought for the purposes. And they don't have to take that anymore. I let it be known. We'll
Yeah.
take responsibility. They don't have to take it anymore. And they don't want to take it. They were told
what they want to do?
by a past administration, it became almost a culture. If somebody throws a rock at you, do nothing. If somebody spits in your face, do nothing. And I say, when they spit, you hit. Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Oh my God. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. No, this is oh man, this is so I mean, so earlier when I said I wanted them at one point to
And
go
I
into
say when they
Memphis, Lord, and now I'm saying not right now. I mean, here's another half a day where he did not have to hear about the Epstein file, so he's just gonna keep going full throttle, just so we don't have to talk about hey the Epstein files. Oh my God! So now it's do whatever you wanna to Memphis and whoever. He's just said it's open season. So this is why it almost kind of seemed like it was all staged. But let's go.
screaming at policemen and spitting in their face, and they weren't able to do anything. They just had a grin and bear. They're standing up like a piece of steel. And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I
Okay.
had 4. Do nothing. And I say, when they spit, you hit. Do whatever you want. You do whatever the hell you want. I watched it so sick it made me. For 4 years, I had to sit home and watch people screaming at policemen and spitting in their face, and they weren't able to do anything. They just had a grin and bear. They're standing up like a piece of steel. And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I
Okay.
had 4 the other
They're
night.
calling it, I don't know. They're calling Antifa, whatever. And these are, we call them anarchists back in the day. And is Antifa a real thing? Antifa is real in the sense of it's individuals and autonomous groups who
Okay.
identify as anti-fascist. So they are, for folks who are anti-fascist, they don't like them, or Antifa. They participate in decentralized anti-racist, anti-authoritarian political movement. However,
Yeah, for a
it's not a
president to say
single,
do whatever you want to
unified
do.
organization with a hierarchical structure, a formal membership, or a central command. So this distinction, this is according to the facts, according to the AI overview on my computer, this distinction has caused significant public confusion, with some portraying it as a single large-scale terrorist group and others downplaying its existence entirely. So it's not an organized group. And so they're against people who are against fascism. Now, I don't believe in property destruction or violence or any of that. But they use Antifa as a catch-all. And when you think of Antifa, don't you think, maybe I'm wrong, when I think of Antifa, I feel like they're trying to talk about black people or something.
No.
Antifa. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah, you wrong
It's
for
almost
that
like
one.
BLM.
You hearing Queen Latifah.
Black Panthers. So is anyone in this press conference going to ask about Epstein?
Exactly.
Is anyone in this press conference going to ask them about Epstein? Is anyone going to ask them why they're using the horrible death of a young man for their own political expediency? Is anyone going to ask him that? Let's listen to a question.
Organizations in the assassination. I'm wondering if you think if Charlie Kirk's assassin worked alone or he worked with him.
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you he didn't work alone on the internet, because it seems that he became radicalized on the internet. That's just by watching same things that you're watching and hearing. It looks like he became radicalized over the internet. And it seems like he has wonderful parents, brought in a wonderful neighborhood, smart guy, great boards, great marks, great student. And then something happened to him over a fairly short period of time. It looks like he was radicalized over the internet, and it's radicalized on the left. He's a left. A lot of
No, he's
problems with the
not.
left, and they get protected.
Will someone please
And they
challenge
shouldn't
him
be
on this?
protected, but as you
No,
understand,
he's
I
not.
think very well from the tone of your question.
There's,
Thank you.
there's no proof.
Yeah, please come in. He wants it to be a left. He wants it to be a left.
They just let him get away with that. That's why I say it's all a show.
Just a
Sir,
show.
there is nothing, there's no evidence now that he was unaffiliated.
Stasher lets
Yeah,
you
that's what
eat
his family
less
says.
plastic. More barbecues, less
Hold
plastic.
on.
More
Where is the evidence that he was left? What is your evidence of that? How is he left? Did he say anything that's lefty? Did he, is there some proof? Is there what? Is there, what's your evidence? He has none, and he goes, we'll talk about that, move on. And then he goes to the next person because he knows, because he doesn't want anyone to challenge. Groypers are alt-right. But they will use that, so that will stand.
Did Trump
That
have on a
soundbite
blue
will run
tie?
everywhere.
Yeah.
There are news organizations carrying that. And they will say, oh my God, he's left. The president says he's left. And that will be written about. And then it'll get out there. And before you can even correct it, whether it's real or not, do we know? He could be, who knows what he is. But I don't think he's saying anything yet. He knows. Now, if he had some proof that he was left, he said, you're reading the same things I'm reading. Like what? What are you reading?
Hi, it looks purple to me.
What are you reading?
It has blue specks
Will
in it.
anyone ask him that? It's all a distraction. And I don't think Charlie Kirk's death obviously didn't start out that way. There are conspiracy theories. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I don't think it started out that way, but it certainly turned into a death grift and an opportunity that sadly presented itself for them to be able to distract from the most important story, I believe,
Right.
right now and to come, is the Epstein files.
Right. I agree.
Is anyone going to ask about the Epstein files here? Because I would.
I totally agree.
I would say, okay, sir, we've had a couple of days of Charlie Kirk. The funeral was in for a couple of days or whatever, so we'll get back to that. But can we go back to the Epstein files? Pam Bondi is here, and also Kash Patel. They're all here. You're all here in a room right now at the same time. Can we discuss this? Why have you not released it? You've told Pam Bondi, she's standing right there next to you. You told her to release all the information, and she hasn't. So can you guys, right while we're here, talk to us about what is happening? This is not about that. Well, this is a press briefing, isn't it? And I'm a member of the press. I want to be briefed on this.
Oh man, where
But
do we
no.
go from here with this?
Today, instead, you have them and him spilling light, and there it is. There he's talking to Pam Bondi. Do you think this question is about Epstein? Let's see what he's saying.
Schools, everything else, but somewhere along the line, something happened. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. How will you send the National Guard into Chicago without cooperation of the governor and the mayor?
Well, if they do cooperate, that's good. If they don't, it's not going to matter to us at all. You know who wants to help us? Police department. They have no respect for the governor. They have no respect for the mayor. They respect us. And we found that in Washington. We haven't had total support in Washington from government, as you know, from everybody. I don't want to say the mayor because she was better than most, but we haven't had great, but we have had great support from the Metropolitan Police. They're like brothers of these people. They're really like brothers. You see that. They work together.
They're like
And so
brothers.
if the governor wants to support, as I said to Bill, it's going to be his proudest moment, what he's going to do, the governor of Tennessee, what's going to happen with Memphis. In 3-4 weeks, we'll stand together and we'll say, look at this. The crime has almost disappeared, maybe completely disappeared. In Washington, they don't even know how to record it because it's down so much. They've never heard. I heard 87% is down. I said,
Yeah,
well,
I
do it
can't.
to 13%.
Let's move on.
Because it's more
I
than
don't want the
it's actually
ego.
more.
He yeah, he's not even concerned. He didn't go to the memorial, y'all. I mean, that's it's like really, I mean, come on now. This young man sacrificed himself to please you. Yeah, he even went against his morals, in his integrity. Y'all, I need for y'all to hit the like button, please. Double tap your screen like that on your phone. I hit the top 3 buttons. It's like right there, all the way up at the top. If you click double those 3 dots, it'll take you to the thumbs up button. Can you do that for me? And we can move forward. I will need those likes before I invest my time today. It's pretty late. Memphis. I wanted to get to, and I have him up, but I'll be back. Let's do this.
Responsible gun owners. What I have said
completely goes away. How do you want to be remembered?
if I die.
Hey guys, it is official. Charlie Kirk is dead.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday, the 10th of September 2025. His death is shocking and heartbreaking. And it got me thinking about something Barack Obama said years ago. Listen. The 10th of September 2025. His death is shocking and heartbreaking. And it got me thinking about something Barack Obama said years ago. Listen.
Our unalienable right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights were stripped from college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara, and from high schoolers at Columbine, and from first graders in Newtown, and from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way,
The other day, we were talking about empathy. When it's not you, but you sympathize or empathize, and you can only imagine. We used to have a president that had empathy.
by the way,
We used to have one. Now, no, that was people that didn't like him, didn't like his skin tone, and we can't say he wasn't intellectual, and we can't say that he wasn't trying to seek equality for all people, not just black people, not just white people, not just for all people. And we found something wrong with that. But wow, do I wish we had some empathy right now.
and by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day.
Shout out to a president that had empathy.
All of us need to demand a Congress brave enough to stand up to the gun lobby's lies. All of us need to stand up and protect its citizens. All of us need to demand governors and legislators and businesses do their part to make our communities safer.
Collectively.
We need the wide majority of responsible gun owners who grieve with us every time this happens and feel like your views are not being properly represented to join with us to demand something better.
Listening to that, it's hard not to feel the weight of what he's saying, especially with what happened to Charlie. Obama was talking about lives lost to gun violence, families torn apart, kids who never got a chance to grow up, and now we've lost someone making a real impact. It's a painful reminder that this isn't just about politics or statistics, it's about real people and communities. What stands out is the call to action. Change doesn't happen by waiting or hoping. It happens when people speak up, hold leaders accountable, and protect those around them. Charlie's death makes that message hit even harder. But this isn't the only time Obama talked about this. There's another moment where he spoke about the challenges of gun policy and accountability. Listen.
The good guys, why then do you and Hillary want to control and restrict and limit gun manufacturers, gun owners, and the responsible use of guns and ammunition to the rest of us, the good guys, instead of holding the bad guys accountable for their actions?
And at no point have I ever proposed confiscating guns from responsible gun owners. What I have said is precisely what you suggested, which is, why don't we treat this like every other thing that we use? We used to have really bad auto fatality rates. The auto fatality rate has actually dropped.
Hi, Audrey.
Precipitously, drastically, since I was a kid. Why is that? We decided we had seatbelt laws. We decided to have manufacturers put airbags in place. We decided to crack down on drunk driving and texting. We decided to redesign roads so that they were less likely to have a car bank. We studied what is causing these fatalities using science and data and evidence, and then we slowly treated it like the public health problem it was, and it got reduced. We are not allowed to do any of that when it comes to guns, because people, if you propose anything, it is suggested that we're trying to wipe away gun rights and impose tyranny and martial law. When we talked about background checks, if you buy a car, if you want to get a license, first of all, you got to get a license. You have to take a test. People have to know that you know how to drive. You don't have to do any of that with respect to buying a gun. And when we talked about doing effective background checks, it was resisted because the notion was we were going to take your guns away. So, sir, I just have to say respectfully that there is a way for us to have common sense gun laws. There is a way for us to
Hi, Prime Minister Chris.
make sure that lawful, responsible gun owners like yourself are able to use it for sporting, hunting, protecting yourself.
Yeah, it's 1,032 people in here. I only have 65 likes. I need to get those likes up like now. Double tap your screen on the face of your phone, or hit the 3 little dots at the top right hand side, and hit the thumbs up, please. Can we take care of that real quick? And we can resume. I think sometimes we think that when you hit the vote, it doesn't automatically count. You have to double tap your screen and hit the 3 dots at the top.
But the only way we're going to do that is if we don't have a situation in which anything
Wow, that many in the tea room tonight. Yeah.
Tyrannical destruction of the Second Amendment. And that's how the issue too often gets framed.
They didn't want to hit the like button
clip,
though.
he's really digging into the tension between rights and safety. The point isn't about taking guns from responsible people. It's about the system letting dangerous people fall through the cracks. Listening to the now, after Charlie's death, it's hard not to think about how real those...
I mean, could we appreciate right now a president with empathy? I'm just saying empathy. I'm just saying, love for the people that he was hired to protect the people. I mean, I'm just kind of lost. When did it stop being that the job was for the people instead of for the president. Just a little confused with it. Hi, Deborah. Yeah. Let's move on. But we got to get the likes up.
Done by the FBI in the past, or it's been done by other, legal specialists, show that most of the violence that's done, political violence in the United States, comes from the far right.
I'm Joanna Coles. This is the Daily Beast podcast. What an extraordinary week it's been in America. Is this a watershed moment? We're here to discuss. Hugh Doherty, our executive editor, who's been monitoring our incredibly busy news coverage over the last few days, and the brilliant David Rothkopf, former member of the Clinton administration and a former editor of Foreign Policy magazine, who's well-sourced throughout DC and who can shed light and always brings a very helpful perspective on really the remarkable events of the last few days. Huey, what else are we going to be talking about? Something else is going on this week.
Something else is going on this week, Joanna. Donald Trump is leaving the country, and he is going to London, where he is going to have a state visit with King Charles. A man with more gold than the Oval Office, more properties than the Trumps, but much less power than the president.
And I'm very curious to know if King Charles will raise the subject of Donald Trump paving over Jackie Kennedy's rose garden.
He is known as the plant whisperer because he literally speaks to plants, and he cannot be pleased about any lawns being removed.
And I just can't imagine what the two of them talk about when they meet each other.
Well, we don't have to imagine. We will soon find out exactly what happens between them.
You mean because Donald Trump will tell us?
Because Donald Trump will tell us, yes. There are some certainties in life, death, taxes, and that Donald Trump will tell us.
Well, that Donald Trump won't stop talking.
He will not stop talking.
All right, let's get into it. Normally, Hugh Doherty, our executive editor at The Beast, and I would be joining David Rothkopf in his beautiful book-lined library, but David has had an auto emergency and he's actually at the shop. But we persuaded him to talk to us regardless. David, thank you. And I have to say, your auto shop looks a lot smarter than mine.
Well, you're very kind, and you're very kind to distract me from sitting around waiting for my car to be ready.
Well, we're excited to talk to you. There's so much going on. Hugh, I will volunteer.
They said that it's a power grab. It's not, right now, it's not even about...
Tour. It's not an apology tour. What is it?
Charlie?
I think cynics might say, Joanna, that it is a Save My Job tour. Kash Patel, of course, before he was FBI director, had a distinguished career as, among other things, a cigar entrepreneur, a children's book author, Maga children's book author, a podcaster, not as distinguished as anybody that I am speaking to here, and also a T-shirt hawker.
But didn't he used to sell Maga merch?
Maga merch, and it was branded Cash, $K$H.
Right, okay, so now he's head of the FBI.
Yes, and that promotion has proved a bit tricky for him. He has been the subject of a whispering campaign inside the MAGA world that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has lost confidence in him, and that they are preparing for him to be replaced by Andrew Bailey, who is a newly appointed deputy. So he's been on the Fox and Friends sofa this morning, and he will be on with Sean Hannity later, and it really is an attempt to save his job, is how people are seeing it.
And Andrew Bailey was brought in as to sort of...
So they're going to replace him.
Dan Bongino.
I heard him talking earlier today how good he was doing and spontaneous.
Dan Bongino, like Kash Patel,
give it up.
long been supporters of release the Epstein files.
Right, and Kash Patel has been very damaged inside the MAGA world by the Epstein fallout. He said, he and Dan Bongino, when they were in private life, were inflaming this situation, and they were talking about release the secrets, tell the truth,
They then got the opportunity to release the secrets and promptly told MAGA, oh, in fact, we're not releasing any secrets and there aren't any interesting ones anyway, and we'd all like you to move on. But people have not.
Is Dan Bongino also part of the whispering campaign?
It looks like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel probably come as a joint deal, but it's Kash Patel who's definitely got his head above the parapet on this one.
So he's been doing the rounds of the Fox News sofas.
Yes, and he went on Fox and Friends, and it was by Fox and Friends standards, this is normally a very friendly environment for those who are part of the Trump world. He was asked a fairly direct question by Brian Kilmeade, who asked him, why did you post on X that there had been an arrest of a possible suspect, and it turned out that this was completely wrong, this person was entirely innocent. And he said, I was just keeping people up to date. But that's not really what we expect from the head of the FBI. We don't expect a live blog. We expect accurate facts.
And I think, didn't NBC report that when he was doing that, he was actually tucking in to a delicious meal at Rayo's, the almost impossible to get a table restaurant at. It's only got, I think, 8 tables. They're all already subscribed to people, and to get a seat at Rayo's comes with incredible cachet. John Kennedy Jr. used to have a table there.
Yes, exactly. He posted this on Twitter at 6:21 Eastern Time, and as soon as the doors opened on this incredibly exclusive restaurant, which is basically a private club in Manhattan, he was spotted going in. It's known for, among other things, its meatballs and its
eating
sauce.
hound and horse.
But it's certainly an eyebrow-raising aspect of this, that the head of the FBI was not anywhere near the manhunt. He was not at FBI headquarters. He was not at Quantico. He was in New York, dining in a very exclusive venue.
So, David, you have
I mean, in all fairness, he could have been off, or he could have been at a business lunch. Oh my goodness. Let's move on. It's not hitting it for me. Hold on. I'm trying to get to some meat and potatoes, as they Stan G would say. Yeah, this one, because we're talking about the FBI director saying that right now he don't think that he can get rid of him. We're gonna see. Let's hear why.
Donald Trump is in a bit of a predicament. On the one hand, he wants to fire his FBI director, Kash Patel, so badly. He knows how utterly incompetent Patel is. But on the other hand, Kash Patel knows where the bodies are buried, or I should say, what is in the Epstein files. Now, before Kash Patel became the FBI director, Kash Patel said that he was confident that the FBI had all the information about Epstein and had the
He's seen the files.
The FBI director, and he was.
Do y'all think that Trump will fire him with him knowing what's in the files? Or will he have an accident? What y'all think? Will he fire him and say, forget it, I don't care, I am the Trump? Or will, we know how, yeah.
To produce all of the records. He had his FBI agents go through them, try to identify any reference to Donald Trump's name. They found quite a few, apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal and others. They briefed Donald Trump. Trump said to Deep Six it, and then you had Kash Patel say, I don't know, Epstein files? What Epstein files? I don't know what happened. But see, he does know what happened. And so Donald Trump realizes
take him out, Jay.
Kash Patel couldn't have been worse when it came to the shooter of CHARLIEKIRK. I mean, Kash Patel was.
Well, you know what? If I can be honest right now, I think I would go ahead and quit. I just don't think I would take that chance. I just do not, because at some point, your regular senses, like if you really are a Christian, or if you really, at some point, with all this strangeness going on, I'd be like, Yeah, let me go ahead and just resign before I come up missing, or you know.
Fancy Italian restaurant.
Have y'all seen the air things that like be up under your shirt, and when a pellet hits it, blood pops out? Have y'all seen that? Give me a one if y'all seen that.
Rayos while he was posting on social media that they got the guy, but it turned out the person that they actually got at first
Yeah,
was
my
not the
conscience wouldn't
guy.
let me
It
stay
was
down.
just someone who was Arab who happened to be a supporter of Charlie Kirk. And then during a press conference that took place in Utah, mind you.
You saw it, Jay?
Hey, this is Senator John Ossoff in Georgia, and before you skip this ad, I've
Y'all
got this
seen it?
FEC deadline coming, okay? Everybody's going to see how much we raise.
Kimberly.
Kash Patel previously fired the field office head of the FBI in Utah. You had the kind of
What am I
interim
gonna
head
do
of
with you?
Utah's FBI and the governor and others. They were like, I guess if the FBI is saying they've got someone, I guess they have a person of interest. Then Kash Patel had to issue a retraction. Then when they finally were able to find the alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, because he turned himself in to his own father, you had Kash Patel try to take credit. This was because of good policing, and
Oh
this
my
shows
God.
how
Just
strong
lying.
the FBI
Oh
is.
my
It was
God.
like, Charlie Kirk, I'll see you in Valhalla, man. I'll see you in Valhalla. And even to this day, you've got Kash Patel now, because of all of the incompetence of the FBI from before. You know, they're so just trying to make this about like transgender people. At first they were like, the bullets are trans. And then they
Oh
were like,
wow.
no, now he has a roommate who, at first, like, how's the bullet trans? How does a bullet have transgender ideology on it? So that was debunked. And then like his roommate or maybe girlfriend or something was
Yeah,
transgender.
I heard that.
So did she have anything to do with it? No, but it rubbed off on him, and that was part of the ideology. Like, what are you talking about? Fox, by the way, is reporting
Oh
knives
yeah,
are
where's
out
my
for
fox?
embattled FBI Director Kash Patel. It claims despite Trump's support. And I think what the Trump support means is that Donald Trump can't lose Kash Patel right now because Kash Patel and Dan Bongino know what's in those Epstein files, and Trump hasn't figured out what other job he's going to give Kash Patel or how he's going to silence Patel. Patel sought a meeting with Trump following the blunders as a new co-deputy begins work next week. And so this talks about how, like, everybody around Trump pretty much wants Patel and Bongino gone, but Trump can't get rid of them. And it's like, because Trump still supports him. No, it's because Patel knows what the Epstein files are. That's why Trump can't get rid of him until Trump figures out, am I going to give this guy an ambassadorship, or where can I move him to keep him silent? How can I rearrange the ships on the Titanic, in other words? But let me just remind you of Kash Patel's background, like when Kash Patel was on with Benny Johnson and he said this. Do you remember it? Let's play this clip right here.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing?
Oh, I saw you.
Give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I gotta get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Or how about in 2023 when Kash Patel said that Epstein's black book was under the direct control of the director of FBI? Here, play this clip.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is I mean,
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting
Yes.
of the Catholic schools.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get
What did he say?
from the DOJ and FBI for local programs.
Gangster. Hold on.
Operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. They this is another government gangster operation.
Government gang, government gangster.
All these local, they do that because this is another government gangster operation.
Government gangster operation
From the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money. That's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
Wow.
Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts.
And then notably, Kash Patel changed his tune very recently. And Kash Patel back in May said that he's not going to withhold information from the American public ever. You can rely on him, but they're not turning anything over. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, I mean,
everything on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever.
Yes,
but I'm also
you're a
not
lie.
going to rush
I'm
to get it
sorry.
out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
Yeah. And then this is what he says about how Epstein died. He goes, I could assure you it was suicide. Trust me, there's no conspiracy here, even though he was the one saying before that there was. Anyway, play this clip.
But there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said...
Now, y'all notice that that's kind of what happened with Charlie. He started questioning, he felt like the files needed to be exposed, and then he had to back off of that. Honey isn't going to sing. Yeah, Canary's going to sing, as well as with Israel.
As far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
So going through this article from Fox about
said
how
the man who
knives are
said,
out to get rid
hold
of Kash
on. You're telling us he killed himself, but you also told us that the older gentleman at the campus university was the shooter.
You know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
Yeah. You were the guy also who told us that you had the suspect too, right? And you didn't, right? But we're supposed to believe you. We gotta believe you. Okay, I think not.
So going through this article from Fox about how the knives are out to get rid of Kash Patel, here's what it talks about. It talks about how former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, once Trump's top pick to lead the FBI, he's now going to be the deputy FBI director because they're just keeping Dan Bongino as a co-deputy FBI director just to keep Bongino close, because again, Bongino knows what's up with the Epstein files as well. So they're keeping him as a co-deputy FBI director. But
he went on a long
saying that they want this Andrew
vacation.
Bailey guy, far-right MAGA guy, they want him to be the leader of the FBI. It goes on to talk about how the White House, Bondi, Todd Blanche, that's Donald Trump's former criminal defense attorney, and number 2, now at the DOJ, have no confidence in Kash Patel. One source with knowledge of ongoing personnel discussions said Pam in particular cannot stand him. Todd Blanche either can't stand him. Bondi and Blanche, they say they deny that characterization, but it seems to be that they are most likely the sources of that.
Your manhood feels like the Florida Panhandle this time of year? Great news. You can instantly refresh yourself 15 times a day without jumping into the shower, washing with your bathroom habits, and buying cheap toilet paper or damaging wet wipe. Free. People who have made 10% off your first bidet.
Kash Patel has all trying to comb through. As I previously reported, more than 1,000 FBI agents were assigned to comb through the Epstein files to flag any mentions of Trump's name for higher-ups. They then redacted his name, so Kash Patel has all the goods right there. And by the way, do you remember this one from February 27th, 2025, this letter from Pam Bondi to Kash Patel? According to Pam Bondi, the FBI hid the Epstein files from her until now, until February 27th, 2025. But under Kash Patel's leadership, they're suddenly delivering everything. Okay? This is another reason why they'd love to fire Kash, but Kash has the stash. The stash is the Epstein gash or rash or something that rhymes. Dear
Something
Director
that
Patel,
rhymes.
this is from Pam Bondi. Before you came into this office, I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. Just a brief reminder, this is what those right-wing influencers held up, those Epstein binders, those Phase 1 binders. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source at the FBI field office
Are you still,
in New York
Deborah,
was
you
in
think he
possession
gonna
of
let
thousands
Diddy
of
out?
pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Pause. More than 1,000. Try 3 terabytes of documents.
I don't think he's thinking about
More
Diddy
documents than would fit in like
right
3
now.
massive skyscrapers if you filled the entire skyscrapers with documents. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and material. You forgot about this letter, didn't you? You forgot. We don't forget about this letter at the Midas Touch Network, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of, let me repeat that again. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. That means Patel has the goods. Patel has the goods. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with the laws, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I'm also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and a proposed personal action plan within 14 days.
Yeah.
In other words, Kash has the compromat. Kash has the compromat. I appreciate your immediate attention to this matter. Now, what do we think the compromat could be? It could be a lot of things, but Dan Goldman, Democratic Congress member, has some ideas. Play this clip.
What's going on with the Epstein files? Donald Trump promised to release them. Pam Bondi said she had the files on her desk and that she was going to release them in the name of transparency. Kash Patel has spent years railing against the FBI to release the files. Many of my Republican colleagues were banging on the table to release the Epstein files. But now, all of a sudden, after a months-long review, Bondi and Patel say nothing to see here. No evidence that any American would want to see about accomplices, co-conspirators, or other people involved. Yesterday, the Republicans voted against releasing the files. So what's changed? Well, we all know Donald Trump has had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He flew on his plane, he hung out at parties, spoke highly of him. And now there are many people saying that Donald Trump is included in the Epstein files. In fact, there are reporters who say that there are videos of him with topless women. Elon Musk even confirmed that Trump is blocking the release of these files because he's in them. Pam Bondi says there's nothing there, but Donald Trump even acknowledges that there is evidence there. It's just not credible. It's made up. This is a Truth Social post from 9:43 this morning. It is an admission that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. And the American people deserve to know whether he is or not.
And Donald Trump's former biographer and someone who was going to potentially be Jeffrey Epstein's biographer, Michael Wolff, has some ideas. Play this clip.
At one point, after Trump had been elected, I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, "Wait a minute."
He got all the tea.
And then he went into his.
He has a lot of tea.
Came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house.
I don't think Desiree and Desire and Fire.
I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is the girls, topless girls, are sitting on Trump's lap, and then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants, and the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing,
covering their mouths.
Yeah, exactly, and pointing. 3 or 4 girls, and those are the ones I specifically remember. And
naturally, naturally, New Orleans. Thank you for the thumbs up.
They were in the safe, and I have seen him on other occasions take them out of the safe, and I think it's.
I know he got the tea. Look at the guy right there. Legal.
The FBI came in after his arrest and took everything from the house, including everything that was in the safe.
So, Trump wants to fire Patel. That seems obvious. Bondi wants him gone. But he can't. Blanche wants him gone. Everybody wants him gone. But then you just go back to remember this article that was leaked by Patel. To me, this leak was also a warning shot back to Donald Trump. September 13, 2025. Trump praises FBI Director Kash Patel for speedy capture of Charlie Kirk assassin. Dude, you had nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
Tyler Robinson turned himself over to his dad.
Nothing. It is the lies for me. Okay, can we get the likes up, please? Get the likes up, please. So that we won't have to keep stopping. But I do have to go to the next one. So what do we think about Fox 4?
Said on air
Howard.
that political violence and extremism exists on both sides, and in response to the brutal assassination of Charlie Kirk, admitted that Kirk, quote, was not a saint, which in turn has triggered MAGA Republicans.
Oh no, I thought I had the actual his goodbye.
If you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel,
yeah, he got fired.
Like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. This was a bold editorial decision by Fox News host Howard.
Oh no, I had the actual. Just let it play. Go ahead.
Kurtz, again, whose final episode of Media Buzz ends today. He will remain at Fox News, or at least was supposed to remain at Fox News for a few years. He might get fired over this. He was surprisingly blunt and even-handed about this. Check it out.
Politicizing this by blaming the left or liberal lunatics for the actions of someone who's obviously insane. But do you think the media, some in the media, are politicizing this by blaming the left or liberal lunatics for the actions of someone who's obviously insane?
No, I don't think so. I think all available evidence related to the suspect suggests that this was a person who was radicalized by a leftist ideology. Every piece of evidence that authorities have released. If the media is going to have an honest conversation about radicalization, where it's happening, how it's happening, and who it's happening to, it has to be acknowledged that extremism.
Well, when did they release it? When did they release that? Because all I've heard them say is that he's not cooperating. So where are they getting that from?
Isn't necessarily evenly distributed
Yeah.
across the political spectrum, and that the left does have a radicalization problem.
Want to focus there because his guest, who is a conservative contributor to the Washington Examiner, which itself is a conservative publication, I want you to listen to what she says. She says that it's not evenly distributed. I'm not sure if she means the violence itself or the media scrutiny of that violence. Pay close attention because we will also address that in addition to what Howard Kurtz has to say.
Does have a radicalization problem that has not been spoken about proportionally in the media as the extremism on the right, and it does exist. There is violent extremism on both sides. It is not proportionate. And in order to have an honest conversation about what led to this moment, that has to focus in part on the left.
I'm glad you mentioned that it's not unique to one side or one party. Charlie.
So let's stop right there because, again, he's going to get... I was stunned when I saw this because I was like, ooh. I mean, it's true what he said and what he's about to say, but, you know,
they're not ready for
Charlie Kirk just was assassinated. Like, I'm surprised a Fox News host is going to say this, but just to address this point. So again, I'm not quite sure. At first she seemed to imply that the violence is not proportionate. Like, she seemed to imply, at least initially, that left-wing violence was more prevalent, was more proportionate, or was disproportionately greater than that on the right, which is not true. We'll get into that. But then she said, you know, a coverage of left-wing violence doesn't seem to be proportionate. Well, it might be because left-wing violence is just less frequent and generally less egregious. But either way, I just want to say for the record, I don't have a problem at all. I agree with her that it's 100% honest. We need to be honest. If Charlie Kirk's assassin was politically motivated, then that does need to be discussed, just like the political motivation of any assassin or any act of violence needs to be discussed, which means Fox also has to discuss when acts of right-wing political violence occur, and they need to identify that it is because of right-wing ideology, right? We need to be candid, and it has to be universal across the board. So with that in mind, here's what Charlie Kirk said that really pissed MAGA off.
Charlie Kirk was not a saint. He said 2 years ago.
What? He what?
Worth.
Whoa.
To have a cost.
Yeah, we gonna look. Oh, Lord. Oh, did y'all hear that? Are y'all listening with y'all good ears? Hello?
Said 2 years ago, it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so we can have was not a saint. He said 2 years ago, Kirk was not a saint. He said 2 years ago, it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so we can have the Second Amendment. But his murder makes us feel like a very dangerous time.
So everything else after this is Charles Gasparino, who seems like a relatively nice guy. He's usually involved in the financial analysis on Fox News. I'm not particularly concerned with what he has to say
that was
here,
too much
but
for
you
them
had
to
Howard
handle.
Kurtz admitting that,
admitting.
Right now the instinct is to either avoid...
Admitting. Keyword. Admitting. You know, I would just rather people not say anything. If they can't tell the truth, why say anything at all? Why have a response or a comment or an opinion if you can't be truthful? Just be silent. I mean, but, you know, it's beginning to feel like, no, everybody lie. So I'm a lie. I'm going to say somebody else did it when they didn't. I'm going to say something that's not a signature when I know it is. I'm a Christian, though. I mean, I know what I represent. I know God is the truth. I know. And I know he said we're not supposed to lie. So why just not keep your mouth shut? instead of lying, false accusations. I mean, I just don't know what I wish I knew if they had a different Bible, like, King James or New and Improved. I don't know if their Bible really is a different Bible. I don't know. It's kind of as if sometimes the "thou shall not," someone is interpreting that as "thou shall not unless I want to." "Thou shall not" to whatever race other than our race. The 10 Commandments are the commandments for you. But those are not the commandments for me. Or I'm going to only pick up those commandments. Or follow God's will and way when I want to. I just don't know if there's a different Christianity that I don't know about. Because this is blowing my mind. That at one point people are mad that someone has the freedom of speech to be aggressive and egregious and rude and disrespectful, manipulative. You have a formula in your debate. So we have the right to say whatever we want to say, however we want to say it. And then someone else, follow the same rules and the rule don't apply. You're banned, you're fired. So we don't have freedom of speech. I mean, I just need for people to wake up and see what's really going on.
Kurtz admitting that, right, there you have Howard Kurtz admitting that,
he's scared to say admitting. Y'all see, he's really afraid to say admitting. Well, he didn't do it. He just said admitting. So now you're scared to say he's admitting the truth. I thought the truth would set Christians free. I mean, I thought that's what they said. The truth would set you free. Now, the truth gonna get you fired. The truth got him fired.
Right now the instinct is to either avoid giving any characterization about Charlie Kirk's beliefs,
Yeah.
or to lionize and beatify him.
Oh, I'm glad you said. I didn't know that he was gonna say that. Oh, Scooter. Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I had to answer that. Any opinions? I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. What phone needed to be charged? No, I'm here. Oh, your phone needed to be charged. I thought you were saying my phone. Yes. The and sign. The and sign and then their name. No space, just the and sign. And the person's name. So what do y'all think? Just you gonna keep your mouth shut?
Or to lionize and beatify.
Yeah, I mean, but okay, so even in our Christian walk, nobody's perfect, right? I mean, we all sin and fall short. You have to put their name, the and sign, and no space, just the and sign and the name. Auntie, please. Oh, okay. So, is the comments going bad? Do I need to check the comments? Oh, hold on. Let me check the comments. Okay, naturally, New Orleans. Is somebody being disrespectful? Oh, okay.
Avoid giving any characterization about Charlie Kirk's beliefs or to lionize and beatify him, sanctify him. That's an impulse, by the way, that we see everywhere, usually when we deal with tragedy, death, murder, things of that nature. The instinct is, by a large swath of people, is to, you don't speak ill of the dead, right? So then people take that impulse, don't speak ill of the dead, and in many cases say, oh, you can only say nice things about the dead. You have to spin it in a positive way.
No, I'm gonna tell
Now,
the
I've tried to
truth.
be consistent. I didn't like Charlie Kirk. I did not like Charlie Kirk's financial analysis on Fox News. I'm not
No, so
particularly
I
concerned with
think
what he
that
has to
is
say here. Who seems like a
if you
relatively
can't
nice guy. He's
say
usually like,
okay, okay. So if you don't have anything good to say, I can agree with don't say nothing at all. Just because something is how you feel, don't necessarily mean you have to express it. I get that, but if we're in the conversation and I am on a panel to be honest and true and to represent, I mean, because I guess it would be totally different if I could be really honest. I think it would be totally different if he stood behind that. It's just hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. Go ahead, though. Let me.
financial analysis on Fox News. I'm not particularly concerned with what he has to say here, but there you have Howard Kurtz admitting that right now the instinct is to either avoid giving any characterization about Charlie Kirk's beliefs or to lionize and beatify him, sanctify him. That's an impulse, by the way, that we see everywhere, usually when we deal with tragedy, death, murder, things of that nature. The instinct is, by a large swath of people, is to, you don't speak ill of the dead, right?
Now,
So
why you?
then people take that
Now,
impulse,
Jazzy,
don't
why
speak
you
ill of the
put?
dead.
I mean, so why are you putting your email? I mean, why are you just trying to? I mean, I'm confused. What are we doing? Yeah, but that's how you do it. But you typically don't do your own name. You highlight it to comment, not advertise, unless you're supporting the platform and you discuss that with me. But no free advertisement, please.
In many cases, say, oh, you can only say nice things about the dead. You have to spin it in a positive way. Now, I've tried to be consistent. I didn't like Charlie Kirk, did not like Charlie Kirk's worldview, and I'm not going to pretend that I did. I'm not going to pretend that he was a moderate. I don't think he was moderate. He was moderate, I think, in temperament, right?
Right.
Like a frothing at the mouth lunatic, like
Right.
Jeannie from
Right. Now I agree with him. Do y'all agree with him? Now how is? Oh, okay, because it's not Fox News. So he's saying he you can express yourself. He just couldn't on Fox News. Okay, I don't know. That's what I was just saying, Jesse. It's okay. I was just letting you know. But that was how you did do it. It was done right. Okay, so is that what he's saying, y'all? That you can do it, but you just can't do it on Fox News. But no, because there are people. The young lady on Washington Post, she lost her job. I'm gonna show y'all that too.
Particularly when it came to like civil politics and electoral politics. He was an election denier, for example. He said he was a free speech warrior, but he co-signed pretty much everything Donald Trump did in these past 6 weeks with respect to his authoritarian crackdown on free speech, attacking law firms, suing media companies, having his FCC attack media companies. Charlie Kirk enthusiastically supported that, and Kirk also betrayed his own principles very often. So, for example, he was really big about the Epstein files.
Yes, he
One of the
betrayed.
Epstein files released,
Didn't we
Trump
talk
was
about
big
how he betrayed? Yeah, he compromised his beliefs. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
really big about the Epstein files. One of the Epstein files released, and then when Trump did his 180, Charlie Kirk bent over backwards. There were sometimes he let it slip that he didn't like this, but he even said at one point, he goes like, I got to trust my buddies in government and the Trump administration, and I'm not going to talk about that anymore. You're violating your own principles here, and I'm just not going to pretend this is going to happen. But I'm also not a MAGA Fox News host. I guess not that Howard Kurtz is a MAGA Fox News host per se, but he is a Fox News host, and he has to know where his bread is buttered. And when he was speaking during this episode and announcing that that was the last episode of Media Buzz, and which had been announced a couple of weeks ago, that, oh, I'm going to stick around, I'll still be working here, here, and here at Fox News, I'll still be doing this. That may not happen as a consequence of this. I imagine he's going to catch a lot of shit about it. So if you look at Kurtz, Kirk, Saint, people are happy. Nick's unhappy. Nick Sortor says, what the fuck? Howard Kurtz just backed up those who blame Charlie Kirk for his own killing, bringing up Kirk's stance on the Second Amendment as a contributing factor. Charlie was not a saint. Luckily, Fox has canceled Howard's show, and this was his final episode. Bye, but he's going to stay on Fox News. I could not be happier this pathetic, weak little man show got canceled. Yeah, just love this guy, which I'm convinced this guy's a bot. He's just too omnipresent. I think Paul Ace is blood. I think that's a bot account. Kurtz is implying that Charlie is in part responsible for what happened to him. This is disgusting. Johnny Maga, WTF. Fox News' Howard Kurtz says political violence is not unique to one side or party, then feeds into the disgusting leftist narrative that Charlie Kirk's anti-gun control stance was somehow a contributing factor to his assassination. Miranda Devine, who is this right-wing lunatic at the New York Post, Charlie Kirk was not a saint. Howard Kurtz, you need to do better research. You're saying he was a saint? It's kind of weird. So they're pissed, guys. They're pissed, and I imagine this is not going to do him any favors. He's probably going to be off camera for a while. And if his show weren't getting canceled already, it was definitely going to be canceled after this. But again, I mean, despite the fact that Charlie Kirk's opinions, in my opinion, were terrible, again, the great thing about the United States is you're not supposed to, one of the great things about the United States is you're not supposed to have to worry about your safety or life while espousing even just bad views. Charlie Kirk did not deserve what happened to him, and it should not have happened. That's why we have to condemn political violence. But I also want to circle back to kind of what was said at the beginning by his guest, which is, what about the distribution of right-wing violence? Well, again, as Mehdi Hassan points out, even Elon Musk's own right-wing grok says, based on FBI and DHS reports, 2020 to 2025, domestic terrorism incidents and fatalities are predominantly linked to right-wing ideologies, such as racially motivated or anti-government extremism, e.g. 329 deaths versus 23 from far left, per CSIS and START data. Left-wing violence, like some Antifa actions, occurs but is less frequent for these metrics. Critics note potential biases in classification, undercounting left-wing events like riots. Overall, right-wing sources appear more prevalent in verified stats. If you even look on Twitter, I mean, just people are saying this everywhere. Again, the data show.
Do y'all think he deserved to lose his job? Was it, I mean, did he deserve to lose his job? This is mad. Somebody was in the comments earlier. I saw it later talking like he can't wait till it all come down, crumbling down. Wow. Let's see what I got next before I get to, yeah, he lost his job for freedom of speech and expressing his belief. Let's see. It said this was.
It became almost a culture. If somebody throws, it became almost a culture. If somebody throws a rock at you, do nothing. If somebody spits in your face, do nothing.
Oh yeah, I
That's
heard
it.
this.
When
What
they
is this?
spit, you
Washington.
do whatever you want. You do whatever the hell you want. I watch it so sick.
Even with all that's going on.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
And the left wing,
Reveal his right. Oh yeah.
Actually, this is a great opportunity with all these.
He wants to shoot and kill.
Designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization.
Well.
I have just never in my life, JD lied. Yeah, I'm trying to get to it. Y'all awfully quiet. Oh my goodness. What is the scheme revealed?
supposed to be brokering deals to help his friends from the Oval Office. He's supposed to be doing the people's.
Let's go.
Of our national security. They cut a deal in principle today between Donald Trump's trade representative, Jamie Greer, his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, and the Chinese Communist Party to have TikTok and its 170 million users be sold off to an American buyer for the American entity, to an American buyer who's likely a friend of Donald Trump, like Larry Ellison, who owns Oracle.
Y'all see what's going on?
Donald
While
Trump
all of this is going on, y'all
his
see what's going
foreign
on.
policy, his economic policy is warped by his own avarice and greed and his desire to help his friends and family members while he's president of the United States. He's not supposed to be brokering deals to help his friends from the Oval Office. He's supposed to be doing the...
Are y'all with me? Are y'all still with me? Hello? Oh, okay.
People's business. He's getting paid to be the president of the United States, not the deal maker in chief.
Now, what's the deal again, Midas?
And greed and his desire to help his friends, and who's likely a friend of Donald Trump, like Larry Ellison, who owns Oracle. And all this Donald Trump has done because his foreign policy, his economic policy is warped by his own avarice and greed and his desire to help his friends and family members.
Okay, thank you.
While he's president of the United States, he's not supposed to be brokering deals to help his friends from the Oval Office. He's supposed to be doing the people's business. He's getting paid to be the president of the United States.
For the people.
Not the deal maker in chief. Why do we own, under Donald Trump, in just the last several months, effectively own a controlling interest in a Japanese steel manufacturer operating as U.S. Steel in the United States? Why do we own 15% of Intel, a computer chip manufacturer? Why do we own 15% of a rare earth mineral company? Why is the United States and the people's taxpayer dollars in business at all? Why are we bailing out private enterprise?
Why we not making no money off our money? Can I ask that? Why? What percentage of these deals are we getting since it's our money? How are we left out of this investment? I mean, right? If you use our money, should we not make something off of it?
Hey guys, this is Senator John Ossoff in Georgia, and a right-wing super PAC.
This is crazy to me, but stay woke.
In the business world, and now because we want to benefit Larry Ellison, the likely ultimate buyer of TikTok, we're going to strike a deal where we get rid of the tariffs against China effectively. They've all been paused. And we make sure, this was a quote from Jamie Greer, the trade representative. We got to make sure the Chinese get fair value for TikTok. Oh yeah, and by the way, that our national security is also protected. That's America first. I'm Michael Popak. You're on the Midas Touch Network and Illegal AF. Let's get to the apparent sale of TikTok. The Biden administration and blocked TikTok, banned it unless it sold itself out from under the Chinese government. I know people love TikTok, but you also have to love it and recognize that the Chinese Communist Party ultimately controlled TikTok and its algorithm and all of its information and personal data that you have provided him. TikTok wittingly or
do y'all know who bailed Trump out of his financial issues he had some years ago? Do y'all know who bailed him out? Do y'all know that it was Israel that bailed him out? Billions. So for his own financial reason, he is in debt. So when I keep hearing Israel first or Israel's running the U.S., that's because of Donald Trump's personal debt. I don't think people know that.
And that was a national security risk that was recognized not only by a bipartisan Congress and a president at the time in Biden, but by the United States Supreme Court, who sided with the ban. Even though Donald Trump, after he got elected and before he became president, tried to lob in a brief arguing that, well, things are going to change when I'm the president, so don't rule in favor of the ban. Well, that didn't work. And Donald Trump only jumped on the bandwagon to let TikTok be sold and to extend the time to sell it because his sons, Barron and others, convinced him that TikTok helped get him elected this time. In the past, Donald Trump was very vocal that he saw the national security risk of a foreign Chinese communist government operating effectively a surveillance platform through TikTok. But now that he can find a way to benefit friends and family, we got a new deal announced. And the thing that's most galling about it is, I'll show you a clip from Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary.
We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
And the art of the deal, it was the ban that gave them the leverage, and the Chinese to gain additional leverage in their negotiation, because they needed some chips on their side, no pun intended, started a criminal investigation and an antitrust investigation against the U.S. chip manufacturer, NVIDIA. And if you didn't know it, NVIDIA is the #1 stock in the world that drives the U.S. stock market. NVIDIA, not Amazon, not Facebook, right? Not Microsoft, NVIDIA. And so they went after NVIDIA and other chip manufacturers, including putting about 20 of them on a list. So they had that as leverage. So Donald Trump gave up and folded on the tariffs against China, cut the deal, and then, of course, according to Jamie Greer, the trade representative for the United States, we got to make sure the Chinese get enough money. Is that what you have to do? I thought we're protecting America's national security. I thought that was the reason for the ban, that gave you the leverage to cut the deal. But again, as I said at the top of the hot take, why are we in the business of business as the United States government? As the President of the United States, you're not the CEO. You're not the chairman of the board of the United States. We're not your shareholders. We're American citizens. We're patriots. We're taxpayers. Stop using our taxpayer dollars to go off on the folly of investing in business and competing with private capital. And then, to add insult to injury, undermine our national security to boot. In this crazy upside-down world that we're working to make sense of, I have no better judge of character than my lab border collie, Lily. And having given her her forever home...
Okay, hold on. It's time to move on. We're talking about dogs. Hold on.
Find great jeans starting at $29.90 in stores and at Maurice's.com.
Allergies are relentless. A stroll in the park? Unbearable.
The president says he did not sign it, so I take the president at his word. I don't think the oversight committee did it.
Looking up something 22 years ago. We're going to look.
So you're just going to take the president at his word that this is not him.
What does it have to do with anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. Number one, the question is, why is President Trump wanting to distance himself from a relationship that everyone knows he had? And at the time, this was before Epstein's alleged crimes became kind of fully known, fully exposed. And so he could easily say, yeah, I helped him celebrate his 50th birthday. But that's not what's coming from the president, and therefore so many Republicans who want to remain in his good graces, want to remain aligned with him, are kind of playing dodgeball a little bit, because at one point it was a fake. Now that the actual document has been released, they're trying to contort themselves from still saying it's a fake, or now saying it doesn't matter. When, again, if it doesn't matter, then why can't you verify whether it's accurate, whether it's real or not?
I think the answer to your question about kind of the so what is, if you look at that letter, it's not just a letter. I mean, it's very suggestive, and
the contents of the letter are what the White House is actually worried about here. They actually like what's written, and never mind the lewd drawing.
Yeah.
But I mean the suggestion of a secrecy. We have a secret, etc. But what the president and his team was doing yesterday, obviously,
Hi, Kevin.
sending a message to his supporters, his base, via right-wing newscasters and others, saying there's nothing to see here. But my question is, the president decided...
Okay, so Kevin, what is the point of coming in here? That's not even what we're talking about. So what made you say that, Kevin? Your mama didn't raise you right? That's how you were raised? Your learned behavior, you're mental and you're insecure, so you feel like you have to say those things. Go play with yourself, okay? You're not welcome here. Get out.
happy with the new ranking Democrat, Congressman Garcia, and then Garcia's response.
Garcia, he's been on the job.
Oh, I accidentally.
Proven to me to be a real big drama queen.
I accidentally.
It's all about.
And no matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, when it comes down to
As much as Republicans,
I don't know what I did.
Might be concerned about this publicly, they are mostly standing with the president, and Speaker Mike Johnson has a valiant effort before him to continue to keep Republicans in line, and he is trying so mightily.
Yeah, in various sort of eyebrow raising ways. So I mentioned behind the scenes because we know what Republicans are saying to the cameras. Let's just listen to some examples.
Clearly, the birthday note from President Trump is a fallacy. It's just not true. And that's a leftist talking point. It's horrible.
I wanted to get your reaction to the release of the Epstein estate documents.
I haven't looked at them.
Are you concerned about President Donald Trump?
The president says he did not sign it, so I take the president at his word.
That blows my mind. So we're talking about the Epstein, and then he comes in and be rude and disrespectful. It's not even that type of party. And he wants to have the nasty things to say about black people. It's just, but that's what Trump is pushing out. He's putting out hatred, just making it be okay, even unwarranted. This is crazy. Oh my goodness, Epstein, never heard. So this one.
The fact that somebody that powerful is...
I mean, I don't want to talk about Israel because I don't think people can handle the truth.
There's no one in Harvey's world that didn't know what a horrible human being he could be.
Oh yeah, they knew.
It continues. He says, quote, "I'm surrendering to a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been so amazing. Thank you all for everything." 2 hours later, Robinson did surrender to authorities. The breaking news from the Washington Post comes just hours before the Utah County attorney lays out the charges against Robinson, just before Robinson makes his first court appearance, which we will all see. The report comes on the heels of a New York Times report with more details about what Robinson was posting to another chat group with about 20 people in it, another group on Discord. That happened earlier on Thursday. And it happened actually just after the FBI had released the first grainy images of Robinson, which, when we saw them, I think initial reaction was, look, if you know that guy, you're going to know he's that guy. So an acquaintance of Robinson writes in this group on Discord, according to the New York Times, WYA, which means where you at, along with a skull emoji. Robinson responding within seconds, saying his, quote, doppelganger was trying to get him in trouble. Now, that was reportedly on Thursday afternoon. He was still on the run. This was 24 hours after he allegedly killed Kirk, so it was about 9 hours before he was apprehended. The message continued, at times making light of Kirk's death. Robinson's reported messages are offering now a crucial glimpse into his mindset before and after the killing and what he was doing when he was on the run, raising these chat groups. So in a moment, I'm going to speak to the Washington Post and New York Times reporters who broke these stories. I want to begin, though, with Danny Freeman. He is out front. He is live in Orem, Utah. And Danny, the first court appearance is hours away. So what are you learning tonight?
Well, listen, Aaron, we have learned so much more about the suspect here, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, but it's really been a slow drip over the course of the past few days since that shooting. Well, now Utah officials are promising that tomorrow we're going to be learning a lot more information. A lot more is going to be released to the public, and that's so crucial because so many here in Utah are desperate for more answers. FBI Director Kash Patel revealing DNA evidence now connects 22-year-old Tyler Robinson directly to the crime scene.
I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
But law enforcement officials are still working to understand what may have driven this young man to allegedly open fire on CHARLIEKIRK.
We are still conducting follow-up interviews and a lot of investigative leads to determine any relationship that may have played into this, whether that be political or personal, or any of those.
Investigators are focusing in on a note that Robinson may have written prior to the shooting that the FBI director says has since been destroyed.
We have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out CHARLIEKIRK and I'm going to take it.
Another area of interest and help to authorities so far has been Robinson's roommate.
The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators. The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
Officials are still investigating whether the roommate relationship may have factored into a potential motive. Robinson lived and grew up here in southwest Utah in a conservative family, acquaintances told CNN. And according to the governor, Robinson moved very far left in recent years.
These are the facts that are being presented to us. Family discussions, parents, this is what they're saying.
In Robinson's hometown, his community mourned CHARLIEKIRK while processing that the suspected assassin was a neighbor.
It's really hard. You just can't imagine someone from around here would do something like that.
Sherry Staley Tate's family has been here for 5 generations and told us Robinson went to school with her daughter.
I said, well, how would you describe him? And she said, I would describe him as, you know, those kids that they're kind of too smart, that they're not common sense smart.
Now, Aaron, I'll also say that community in southwest Utah also made a point to pray not just for CHARLIEKIRK and his family, but also for the Robinson family. Aaron, all eyes now here back up.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
That's when that first court appearance is.
That's what you're supposed to do. They pray for the person who trespassed against them. I mean, even though we don't want to, shout out to them. Bless them. That's good to hear.
Utah on tomorrow because that's when that first court appearance is expected to take place. Aaron?
Danny, thank you so much on the ground in Utah. Out front now, the 2 reporters who obtained these Discord messages sent by Tyler Robinson in the hours before he was taken into custody. Hannah Knowles of the Washington Post and Nicholas Bogle-Burrows of the New York Times. Both of these reporters received messages from people in these 2 different chat groups. And so, Hannah, you know, let's start with this group message that you saw. Robinson confesses in the message you saw to about 30 people in a group. And the quote of the message that you obtained was, hey guys, I have news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. hard to imagine how a group would even react to something like that, whether they would even believe it. I mean, from what you saw, what more can you tell us about what he said in his confession and how people in that group responded?
So Tyler's account on Discord went on to say he was going to turn himself into law enforcement momentarily through what he called a sheriff friend. And then he sort of said goodbye to his friends in a way. He said, thanks for everything and thanks for the good times.
I mean, it's pretty incredible, Hannah, to even think about this, right? I mean, about 30 people the day after Robinson's arrest. I mean, you've been looking at these messages, and you say that a friend wrote in the same group chat that we're talking about here, while Charlie Kirk's politics were not acceptable to some, I ask that we all say a prayer for him and his family during these confusing times. Now, this is obviously after Robinson's arrest, right, for allegedly assassinating Kirk. So presumably at this point, 30 people now know that this guy in their group is the one accused of doing this. So how would you describe the relationship between Tyler and everyone else in this particular group chat?
Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much of who was in this group beyond that they were friends of Tyler's who interacted with him online on this platform. But yeah, what was really interesting was after Tyler's account posts this on Thursday night, the night after the shooting, the chat just goes silent, and there is no response that night. And then the next day after, Tyler's name is now out in the news, after he's been arrested, a friend eventually chimes in to say, that note you mentioned, basically asking people in the group to pray for Tyler and also to pray for Charlie Kirk and his family.
But there was silence when they find out it's him, and at least in terms of their conversation on Discord that you're looking at, they're not discussing that somebody they knew, somebody in their group is accused of this?
I would imagine some of them were probably talking about it somewhere if they saw that message, but not in that channel.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. Okay, so Nicholas, the messages you obtained are sent by Robinson earlier in the day. So this is on Thursday afternoon to a second Discord group of about 20 people. So this is a different group. It's another 20 people. So this is at least 50 people that are having these conversations. I'm just sort of doing basic math. Who knows how many groups? But this is this other group. And it was shortly after the FBI released the photo. So at this point, he hadn't turned himself in. They didn't know who he was. In the group, that what you've seen, Robinson's friends start joking that looks like him. And then within a minute, you say that he wrote back, and I quote Nicholas from your reporting, that he posts, "My effing doppelganger trying to get me in trouble." And then you report somebody joked the group should turn him into the FBI to get the reward money, to which Robinson replied from your reporting, "Only if I get a cut." This is incredible stuff, Nicholas. Tell me more about the messages you saw.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is 24 hours after the assassination has taken place. Like you said, the FBI has just released these first sort of grainy photos. And someone who knows Tyler in this Discord chat says, like you said, where are you at? And he responds by basically suggesting that his doppelganger is trying to get him in trouble, making jokes about it. At some point, they made a reference to Luigi Mangione, who's accused of the assassination in Midtown Manhattan. And they told him, don't go to a McDonald's. They're sort of joking around with him. And he keeps joking back, saying, I better also get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around. It's, about 9 hours before he ultimately turned himself in.
Yeah, okay, so then, Nicholas, you've got another message just sent around the same time that some news outlets were incorrectly reporting that ammo had been engraved referencing transgender ideology. And you report that Robinson wrote about this, and I quote from your reporting, "I heard the ammo had something about trans stuff on it, but they aren't releasing photos or exact quotes. And also the claim wasn't backed by..."
Okay, let's hear this. We're going to go a different route. Let's just hear this. Let's hear this. Let's hear this. Regular tea sippers. Let's go. No disrespect at all. None will be tolerated.
If it is the will of... Why, Farrakhan, did you choose Atlanta to ask such a profound question? Who are the real children of Israel? Atlanta is the capital city of the South.
Good night.
Before we leave tonight,
thank you,
if it is the will
Jazzy
of Allah,
Garrow.
my beloved brothers and sisters in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Arkansas, you all will know the price that our ancestors paid.
Who? What state?
South.
Oh, in the South. Oh, okay.
City of the South.
Wow.
And before we leave tonight, if it is the will of Allah, my beloved brothers and sisters in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Arkansas, you all will know the price that our ancestors paid in this South.
Let's
to
go.
bring wealth and riches to America, England, and the Western world. All of it was built on our backs.
Oh. Well.
I don't want to waste any time. I asked the question, who are the real children of Israel? And I'd like to answer it right away.
Go ahead, dear minister.
Like any good lawyer in a courtroom, he tells you what he's going to prove.
All right.
And then he goes ahead and proves it and let the jury make the decision.
There goes Minister Farrakhan again, picking up the pieces of the puzzle from where it all began. Without meaning to be incendiary nor controversial, this firebrand speaker of truth had stormed out with this controversial question and would go even further.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said that Almighty God, Allah, revealed to him that the black people of America are the real children of Israel.
Oh.
And we are the choice of God.
Right.
And that unto us he will deliver his promise.
Oh.
This question says that somebody
Yes, sir.
has usurped our position.
That's right.
This question
Hi, Scotty.
says that somebody has taken the promise of God to the children of Israel and claimed it for themselves. But those of you biblical and Quranic scholars, today we are prepared to call out the scholars of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. If you can disprove what we say today, then I'll pay with my life a line.
Well, let's listen, y'all.
To all of those who feel that the children of Israel are over in that place they call Israel, you are mistaken. To the Christian right, who feel that if you bless that Israel, you will be blessed. But for over 60 years, that nation has not been blessed. But these are the people that if you bless us, then God will take off of America some of the plagues that are now coming on America that will get worse after I deliver this message tonight.
The historical and cultural significance of the Israelites and their connection to the African diaspora exposes the truth behind the question. The role of slavery, colonization, and other historical events in shaping the identities and experiences of black people exposes the real truth behind who the real children of Israel are.
And what has happened to black people and white people and Jews and Gentiles is that a small group, 10%, have deceived and misused 85% of the people and sucked their blood to live in luxury at the expense of those who do not understand the law of cause and effect and believe in a mystery.
Hi, Ronald.
And are poison animal eaters. But the wickedly wise have known the truth. And because they know the truth and they know the time, they are working night and day to trick you out of the promise of God and take you down to hell with them because the time of their end has come. Our historical research department has studied from the scholarship of Jewish historians, scholars, and rabbis. And we have published volume number 2 of The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. I sent it to President Obama, to Rahm Emanuel, to David Axelrod, to Timothy Geithner, to Larry Summers, to Ben Bernanke, to all the people that should know what was done to us and can no longer hide. That's why Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." What truth shall you know? If you are not yet free, and you are not, then you do not yet know the truth that Jesus was talking about that would free you from your open enemy, awaken you, cleanse you, and reconnect you to the God who has come for your and my salvation.
The truth, what is the truth? The real children of Israel. Who are they? Have you ever wondered if the identity of the true children of Israel has been misunderstood and misrepresented for generations? What if the descendants of an ancient people, scattered and enslaved, were never truly lost, just silenced?
Sending it to Negroes.
Hey, I want to touch bases with everyone. This is my first time watching this. At any time you're not comfortable, I understand. I respect that. If you want to leave, that's great. But I don't want anyone to feel offended. Again, this is my first time watching this, and this is just for educational purposes only. Okay, everybody okay with that? Hi, Jamie. Hi. It's just a lot, of Christianity, and it's just a lot kind of going on, and I just think it's high time now to try to, reconnect with facts and fiction and, all of that. So that's my purpose, because I had intended to touch bases on, what's going on with Israel, first Israel, and all of that type of stuff. So when I saw this, I said, okay, well, let's entertain this, and then maybe tomorrow, because it just seems so today so overwhelming, too much. We don't want to fight. We don't want, if it doesn't affect us, or I don't know. I just don't think people should be fired. I think if it's freedom of speech, it's freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and it just feels like everything that we have been taught is going out of the window, and I don't quite understand why. It's just it's almost as if making America great again is really taking it all the way back. So that means it's erasing all of the progress. So then I chime into erasing, what was it that, in the Smithsonian, erase that and fill it in with lies. So going forth, we will just kind of all be living a lie. Yeah, but I understand. This is just it's saying who are the real children of Israel. That's the title of it. So I'm not trying to say that it's the same. We're just listening.
We're sending it to black college presidents.
Hey, Willie.
And then we can talk. Don't call me to come on no radio or television show until you have read the book. And then if you can defend this, we know who you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're Satan. And I'm exposing you.
Oh.
Because there is no hiding place today. The truth will be made so plain that even a fool will not find place to error. This is the day. This is the time. And I am the man to bring it about.
I just don't understand why religion, or faith, or spirituality have to be so aggressive. But we gonna listen. It's like, where's the aggression? Oh my God.
Just sit down.
Now listen. Oh, and one more.
Don't you come out.
I've never really, honestly, never just fully sit down and listen to Louis Farrakhan. I never have. So I'm gonna try. So if y'all hear me saying something about aggression, right now I just kind of wanted some peace, but I want to listen. So I'm gonna stop. Let's go. Let's listen. Because it's late. Let's go. I'm trying to sit this up so I don't have to hold it. Hold on. It's been a long day. Let's go.
To defend our enemy. You sit down and you shut up and tell your master to come on out.
Passion often gets misunderstood as aggression. Intent matters though. Okay,
In one of his most powerful.
now, cause I get you, Jamie. Cause if I was at church, my church, I would think something is wrong, and I'm not gonna be able to receive the message, and I need to come back another day. That's that. Yeah. So okay, I get you.
Speeches, Minister Louis Farrakhan posed a question that has rippled through religious institutions, media outlets, and communities around the world. Who are the real children of Israel? And perhaps even more provocatively, why has this truth been so carefully hidden?
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said that Almighty God, Allah, revealed to him that the black people of America are the real children of Israel. And we are the choice of God. And that unto us he will deliver his promise. This question says that somebody has usurped our position.
That's right.
This question says that somebody has taken the promise of God to the children of Israel and claimed
Yeah,
it
that makes sense
for themselves. But those of you biblical and Quranic scholars,
You help calm me down.
Today,
Thank you.
we are prepared to call out the
Brazil.
scholars of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. If you can disprove what we say today, then I'll pay with my life for lying. To all of those who feel that the children of Israel are over in that place they call Israel, you are mistaken. To the Christian right, who feel that if you bless that Israel, you will be blessed. But for over 60 years, that nation has not been blessed. But these are the people that if you bless us, then God will take off of America some of the plagues that are now coming on America that will get worse after I deliver this message tonight.
To understand the weight of this claim, we first have to journey back into the pages of Scripture, into the suffering of nations, and into the soul of a people who have carried an untold history on their backs.
Last night, I sent this book.
Is it repeating the same stuff?
And another one that's printed called Negroes at Auction. I sent it to Mr. Abraham Foxman of B'nai B'rith, to all the leaders of the major Jewish organizations. I sent it to President Obama, to Rahm Emanuel, to David Axelrod, to Timothy Geithner, to Larry Summers, to Ben Bernanke, to all the people that should know what was done to us and can no longer happen.
I agree, Jamie.
That's why Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. What truth shall you know? If you are not yet free, and you are not, then you do not yet know the truth that Jesus was talking about that would free you from your open enemy, awaken you, cleanse you, and reconnect you to the God who has come for your and my salvation. I'll get into more of this during the lecture, but it's too much. You'll have to get the book yourself. Now, after I'm sending it, of course, to all these talking heads, Hannity and Combs and Glenn Beck and Larry King, everybody that talks.
At Granger, we're for the ones.
Are you researching dental implants?
There's a lot of dental offices that'll talk about doing their teeth in the...
Sending it to Negroes. We're sending it to black college presidents. And then we can talk. Don't call me to come on no radio or television show until you have read the book. And then if you can defend this, we know who you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're Satan. And I'm exposing you. Because there is no hiding place today. The truth will be made so plain that even a fool will not find place to error. This is the day. This is the time. And I am the man to bring it about.
Farrakhan's speech wasn't just an accusation or a theory. It was a declaration.
Now, let's go for the proof.
Okay, so I accidentally started it over. I'm sorry.
The proof starts in the book of Genesis. Genesis, and the first 5 books of Moses, called the Pentateuch,
Yes, sir.
begins with in the beginning. What beginning? When was that? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Yes, sir.
Interesting that God would reveal to Moses the beginning, because Moses was 4,000 years ago, 2,000 years after the beginning. Because the beginning, according to the book, is 4,000 BC.
That's right.
Moses came 2,000 BC, so there were 2,000 years that he had to get up to speed on. I thank Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And soon every one of you will join me in thanking God for that man. It's talking about the relationship between heaven and earth. I'm just going to be brief, hit these points. Earth cannot function without heaven. There has to be a relationship between earth and heaven in order for life to come up out of the earth, because without the heavens, nothing can come forth from the earth. The earth was without form and void. Something needed to be brought out that was without form and given form. So the Bible teaches us that Adam was made from the dust of the earth. But who was on the planet before Adam? Because certainly the beginning of humanity is not 6,000 years.
3 red flags you have procrastination trauma. Red flag number 1, you're always exhausted but can't stop scrolling.
Yeah. Now you scholars, go look up the pre-Adamites. The pre-Adamites are the aboriginal people of our planet. The darker people. The original people.
The original people.
Adam is the beginning of a new people that were existing in another kind of form, but without form. And through a process were brought out of the original man. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness. They are not original man, they are mankind. A kind of a man from the original. And let us.
Grafted man.
Power to rule the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and every creeping thing that crawls upon the earth. This is why it's very difficult for white people to submit to black leadership. Because they were given dominion. And even though they act like they're submissive,
Yes, sir.
you have to be careful. Because they're always looking for a way to undermine any black man that rises in authority.
He pointed to prophecies in the Bible, particularly in Genesis, from the formation and creation of the original man, Adam, and how God gave power and dominion to man over everything that he has created.
Now, in this book of Genesis, we get lots of pictures of God and his promise. Look at how this happens. In the 15th chapter of Genesis, God is talking to Abram. And he says to Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them and shall afflict them 400 years. But after that time, God is speaking, I will come. And I will judge that nation which they shall serve, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance and go to their fathers in peace and be buried in a good old age. Now the Jewish people claim that this is talking about them. But other than the Bible, there is no historical record of anybody named Jews in bondage in Egypt for 400 years.
This is for entertainment purposes only. No disrespect.
Was talking with Anwar Sadat of Egypt, and he talked about how his people were in Egypt and had built the pyramids. And I know, I didn't say Cronkite. I know who I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for trying to help me. But in that instant, I didn't need it, but stay around. I might need it a little later on. I never mentioned who was doing the interview because it's irrelevant. The fact is that Anwar Sadat said to Menachem Begin, we have no history of nothing like that in our history. That was a hint that Begin was trying to put something over on Sadat because there was a peace agreement. And you always have to think now.
Who haven't we heard of a peace agreement? Wasn't we supposed to have one? Wasn't with Israel and Iran? Let's go.
That when you have peaceful relations, you have to keep your eyes open for the game.
Right.
That may be put over on you by a smart, crooked deceiver. Now, there's no historical record of their suffering in bondage like that. Now, they were freed from a bondage, all right, but that was in the hills and cave sides of Europe. This, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, and you can go find it for yourself.
Yes, sir.
These people have no legitimate connection to that land. They didn't come into existence in the Holy Land. They came into existence, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, that Allah taught him, on the island of Pilan.
Yes, sir.
Or as it is written in the book of Revelation, Patmos. They came back to the Holy Land after 600 years of grafting them from black into white. You that study biology, you so-called college students, this is almost a damn robbery.
The crowd listened, not just with their ears, but with their very soul. For Farrakhan wasn't merely preaching, he was awakening a deep-seated truth that resonated within each listener. It was as if he was unshacking minds, freeing them from the constraints of an incomplete education that only revealed fragments of knowledge, carefully curated to serve the interests of those in power.
To make you pay for an education that you can't use. The education has been factored and put before the world. It is inferior teaching that leaves you still with it in an inferior position. I'll prove what I'm saying in just a moment. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to school, you shouldn't go to college. But what I am saying is, look at what you're studying. Don't waste your mother's money or your father's in a course that will not allow you to benefit your people or yourself.
audience hung on his every word, their spirits stirring with a newfound awareness, as if awakening from a long collective slumber. The air was electric, charged with the promise of revelation and the thrill of discovery, as Farrakhan's message pierced the veil of ignorance, illuminating a path to true understanding and empowerment.
So, how did they have any connection to the Holy Land? You see, after they came back to Arabia, which is the Holy Land, after the process was completed, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that within 6 months, they had turned the Holy Land upside down.
Emmanuel, did you look at the guidelines of the coming in over here for the first time? I've never seen you before and you've been real rude and disrespectful. I was trying to check to see if you were mature or not and would just stop when nobody would troll with you. But you continued anyway. Do I need to remove you? Are you childish or are you full adult? What do you mean you did? What do you mean you did? Yeah, but you kept on. And we were trying to listen and you were trying to be a distraction. So are we cool? Are you gonna listen or, you know, because we're not trolling over here. I don't troll.
Because they were taught a system of tricks and lies that would divide the family.
Because we were listening to a message and you're saying about somebody sound like a wolf and why do you have, you know, you were being okay, come back another day, okay? Just come back another day.
And it caused us to fight and kill one another because of the falsehoods that have been put between us. This is 6,000 years ago.
Freeing them from the constraints of an incomplete education that only revealed fragments of knowledge, carefully curated to serve the interests of those in power.
To make you pay for an education that you can't use. The education has been factored and put before the world. It is inferior teaching that leaves you still with it in an inferior position. I'll prove what I'm saying in just a moment. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to school, you shouldn't go to college. But what I am saying is, look at what you study. Don't waste your mother's money
Hey, stop playing.
or your father's in a course that will not allow you to benefit your people or yourself.
The audience hung on his every word, their spirits stirring with a newfound awareness, as if awakening from a long collective slumber. The air was electric, charged with the promise of revelation and the thrill of discovery, as Farrakhan's message pierced the veil of ignorance, illuminating a path to true understanding and empowerment.
So, how did they have any connection to the Holy Land? You see, after they came back to Arabia, which is the Holy Land, after the process was completed, the Honorable Elijah
I'm here.
Muhammad
I'm
said
watching from
that
TV,
within
not
6
feeling.
months,
Oh, okay. Thank you. Stop
they had
playing. I hope you
turned
feel better.
the Holy Land upside down because they were taught a system of tricks and lies that would divide the family. And it caused us to fight and kill one another because of the falsehoods that have been put between us. This is 6,000 years ago. Now let's see if it's practiced today. I was in Iraq. I visited Shiite and Muslim Sunni mosques. I visited Christian churches. I didn't visit the synagogue, but they were there. Nobody was bothering the next person. You never read about a bombing of a mosque, bombing of a church, until after who got there.
Until what?
Talk to me. A bombing of a mosque, bombing of a church, until after who got there. Talk to me. If it didn't happen under Saddam Hussein, and he was the tyrant, what happened now that there's killing between Shiite and Sunni? An enemy came in among you. They love to keep us at war with each other. But the architecture of white supremacy is to be exposed and destroyed. Moses had a hard job to civilize the Caucasian from the hills and cave sides of Europe. He did have another assignment after he got them up in Egypt, but not with them. You know, our lessons teach us that we rounded up all that we could find. And stripped from them everything except the language and drove them into the caves of Europe, across the burning sand.
Yes, sir.
So today, you want to join AKA or Delta, Sigma, Omega, Alpha? You got to do what? Cross what? Burning sand. Where did that come from? You want to become a Mason? Try now.
All of that was black people, the original people, but race mixing began and blacks were moved out.
Before them have always been on that land. Saudi Arabia, Saud, comes from the word Aswad, which means Black Arabia. How did it get white? Egypt, cradle of civilization. Southern Egypt is where Cairo is, Northern Egypt is south because it follows the Nile River, which starts in Uganda and flows north. So everything at the north end of it is called, that's called Upper Egypt. Now look, all of that was black. You go to Egypt, and some of you have been there, in that majestic desert, you see the Sphinx, you see a lion's body and the head of a black man on a lion's body. Now some of them will tell you, no, we did that under slavery. Well, tell them that Farrakhan said, do it again. Because if you can't do it now, and you can't, you didn't do it then. This was a wise show of the great wisdom of our ancient fathers. Two things cannot rule at the same time. So when the new man came, which is the Caucasian, the black man had to go to sleep in order for the new man to rule. That's right, that's right. So when race mixing began, all these light-skinned ones, you know how it began here, don't you?
Yep.
All us light-skinned ones.
Yep.
And then when you take the light one and he hates black and he marries another light one, then you get lighter ones. And before you know it, the lighter ones look nearly white, and then they tell you they better than the blacker ones.
Is that how we got there? So, okay, so since we started at the same, is that how we got there? Okay, oh well. I mean, you know, we kind of talked about where we all started from. All the Christians.
Now, if you're not teaching this in school, if you're not showing black people that they are the mother and the father of every human being on the earth, of every race on the earth, of every kindred, every tongue, and every nation, if you are not teaching this, of every human being on the earth, of every race, white, and then they tell you they better than the blacker ones. Because if you can't do it now, and you can't, you didn't do it then. This was a wise show of the great wisdom of our ancient fathers. Two things cannot rule at the same time. So when the new man came, which is the Caucasian, the black man had to go to sleep in order for the new man to rule. That's right, that's right. So when race mixing began.
Wow. 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 Okay. Hold on. Let me hear that again. So you have to go to sleep.
And you can't. You didn't do it then. This was a wise show of the great wisdom of our ancient fathers. Two things cannot rule at the same time. So when the new man came, which is the Caucasian, the black man had to go to sleep in order for the new man to rule. That's right, that's right. So when race mixing began, all these light-skinned ones, you know how it began here, don't you? all us light-skinned ones. And then when you take the light one and he hates black and he marries another light one, then you get lighter ones. And before you know it, the lighter ones look nearly white, and then they tell you they better than the blacker ones, out of which all of them came. Now, if you're not teaching this in school, if you're not showing black people that they are the mother and the father of every human being on the earth, of every race on the earth, of every kindred, every tongue, and every nation, if you are not teaching this, then you're following the line of white supremacy and keeping your children ignorant that they can be used as a tool and a slave by the architects of white supremacy.
Oh, wow.
Michelob Ultra Zero. Now, if they didn't spend 400 years in Egypt, could this be that it was a poetic, symbolic picture of a future people who would be the seed of Abraham?
Now, Jewish people claim Abraham. Sorry. I have to tell you the masquerade is over. Now listen, this is not Jew bashing.
No, sir. No, sir.
I don't have nothing in my heart against the Jewish people, and I'll tell you in a minute why I admire them. But I have to tell the truth.
Tell it. Tell it, dear minister. Tell it.
Look.
Oh, my.
Now
Okay.
listen. This is not Jew bashing.
No, sir. No, sir.
I don't have nothing in my heart against the Jewish people, and I'll tell you in a minute why I admire them. But I have to tell the truth.
Tell it.
Truth will set you free.
Tell it.
Look. If they didn't suffer this, who did? If God said to Abraham, look, man, I'm going to bless you. Now think about this. I'm going to bless you. Look to the north, look to the south, look to the east, look to the west. I'm going to give it all to you, that you can hold it forever.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, that's heavy stuff. And look at what he said to Abraham. If you can count the stars, so great will be the multiplication of the seed of Abraham. If you can count the dust, you'll be able to count the multiplication of your seed. Well, from what I'm reading, Pat Buchanan said
Tell it.
that the West is dying because the white race is not able to produce babies. And I just read something last week that the demographers in America are saying that by next year, possibly, the blacks and Hispanic babies will outnumber the birth of white children. Now, wait. Don't clap. Think. Just think with me.
Let's go.
That means that if this dearth of white babies, one child born, one white person dies. So you have an older and older generation of white people and a smaller young people. group of young people. The exact opposite is with us. So the wise demographers are saying
Depopulation.
if this continues
Depopulation.
by 2030, 2040, 2050, if you don't know how to save yourself under the plan of God
Hi,
for
Barbara.
your salvation, you'll go down with the enemy as he goes down.
His speech didn't just stir faith, it stirred controversy. Critics called it divisive, some labeled it anti-Semitic, and headlines
Anti-Semitic.
Farrakhan as a dangerous voice. Yet he stood firm. This is not hatred, he said. This is about identity, about a people finally seeing themselves in the mirror of history. And why does this matter today? Because identity shapes destiny, because people disconnected from their roots are easier to control. Farrakhan's words challenge more than just theology.
I guess that's why Trump
power structures,
has been put in charge to clear out the migrants.
Who has the right to call themselves chosen.
I don't know.
When a man talks like this, you start thinking about what you might do.
I just don't understand how. I just don't know how a criminal can just outcast criminals. And for the ones who have strived to not become a criminal or not be a criminal, the criminals are being promoted, let out of jail. It seems so backwards to me.
That's gonna call you and ask you, was you there? I heard you spoke. But you can tell him I didn't know what that man was gonna say. But you can also tell him he's proven his point. And I'll tell you what you can tell him. You can get this book tonight. And when your friends start questioning you, say, would you read this? And this will be like showing a vampire the cross.
Oh, wow.
Holy water on a vampire. See, because the worst thing that a deceiver wants is for the people deceived to find the truth.
That's true.
Farrakhan's words is
now
more
that's
than
true.
Just a speech. It's a call to wake up, a call to dig deeper, to reclaim what was stolen.
A deceiver never wants to be exposed.
But legacy. So before
I don't want you to know the truth.
Ask yourself this: what if Farrakhan is right, and what does that mean for everything we thought we knew? Like, share, and subscribe if you believe that truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just food for thought. We never know. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to understand some things, learn some things.
but not from a religious perspective, not from a spiritual perspective, not from a God-centric perspective, rather from a national perspective.
What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, bringing you another gold nugget that you can either pick up or you can just kick it aside.
Right. If it don't apply, let it fly.
Sao Paulo. But I want to bring you all this video because here it is as a rabbi, Jewish rabbi, who is exposing the whole intentions of the Zionists, you know, Netanyahu, who they have stolen the identity of what a Jew is. That they have also created this state of Israel by taking people's land, as well as stealing
The governments of the
from
Western
those who are Jews.
world are focused on getting
And
out.
yet we see the lie that has been presented to the world by these Zionists. Enjoy the video and add this to your library.
Today's guest is Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro, an international speaker, author, and rabbi for over 30 years. This is a well-known critic of Zionism, and his most recent work, The Empty Wagon, Zionism's Journey from Identity Crisis to Identity Theft, is a 1,381-page treatise on the differences between Judaism and Zionism.
Zionism itself was created as a substitute for Judaism, a replacement for Judaism, and a way to negate Judaism.
Yeah, so that takes us to our first question. What is a Jew?
Zionists are unable to answer because they negated the real definition. When I say the real definition, I mean the only intellectually consistent one. Being a Jew in the most accurate way.
I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to mess with that. No. Where is, I thought I had it. Okay, let's go here.
So let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel is on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Whew. Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is. Yeah. And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours. And by the way, I'm actually very pro-Israel. So let me be so I'm not exactly.
I think we all are.
No, I just want to make sure my position is clear here. But Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay? Another aspect is that Netanyahu might have traitors in his government, like legitimate traitors that have infiltrated. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, I can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. Just something to think about, right? Is that maybe there are some people within those intel agencies that aren't as sympathetic. Or maybe, Patrick, they might have gotten a tip, they might have gotten whispers, but no one thought it would be 1,200 Jews dead. That's a potential, right? Because here's the essence of it. The essence is this. This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
After listening to this video, it's clear that CHARLIEKIRK was questioning some of the decisions and actions of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. He repeatedly emphasized that he is pro-Israel, but that does not mean he blindly supported every move of the government. He raised serious questions about intelligence failures, possible stand-down orders, and the presence of potential traitors or bad actors within Israel's own agencies. You can hear that he was thinking critically and independently, weighing what he saw on the ground against official narratives. This is where Candace Owens' point becomes very real. She mentioned the immense pressure Charlie was under, and this clip shows exactly why. Some of the same people who had supported or sponsored his movement in the past were likely uncomfortable with him questioning the government and may have threatened to withdraw support if he continued speaking out. That's a very real dynamic for public figures. Speaking the truth, even carefully and respectfully, can come with enormous risks when powerful interests feel challenged. Charlie was in a difficult position, trying to navigate his support for Israel while also confronting troubling realities that he couldn't ignore. He was asking questions, pointing out contradictions, and highlighting moral concerns. That's courage, and it also explains why Candace Owens was right to draw attention to the pressures he was under. This clip isn't just a conversation about politics. It's a glimpse into the complex forces surrounding someone willing to think.
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
After listening to this video, it's clear that CHARLIEKIRK was questioning some of the decisions and actions of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. He repeatedly emphasized that he is pro-Israel, but that does not mean he blindly supported every move of the government. He raised serious questions about intelligence failures, possible stand-down orders, and the presence of potential traitors or bad actors within Israel's own agencies. You can hear that he was thinking critically and independently, weighing what he saw on the ground against official narratives. This is where Candace Owens' point becomes very real. She mentioned the immense pressure Charlie was under, and this clip shows exactly why. Some of the same people who had supported or sponsored his movement in the past were likely uncomfortable with him questioning the government and may have threatened to withdraw support if he continued speaking out. That's a very real dynamic for public figures. Speaking the truth, even carefully and respectfully, can come with enormous risks when powerful interests feel challenged. Charlie was in a difficult position, trying to navigate his support for Israel while also confronting troubling realities that he couldn't ignore. He was asking questions, pointing out contradictions, and highlighting moral concerns. That's courage, and it also explains why Candace Owens was right to draw attention to the pressures he was under. This clip isn't just a conversation about politics. It's a glimpse into the complex forces surrounding someone willing to think and speak independently, even when it could cost them everything.
They look like pretty earrings, but they are actually...
I don't remember where I put it. Ain't gonna be no good in the morning. 9.
Let them lose you.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, let me go here. Oh my goodness. Where's the volume? So it says, Trump's Secret Service caught Israel spies placing. Oh, I don't know if that's true.
So yes, Trump is scared, and what I learned from the source, who is a Trump insider, someone who talks to who talks to people in the Oval Office, people close to Trump, is that during one of Netanyahu's many visits to the U.S. this year, some figures in his retinue, Israeli agents, placed electronic devices on emergency response Secret Service vehicles. The Secret Service found them, and they reported this to the White House. These would be emergency response vehicles that would respond to an incident potentially involving the president. So yes, Trump is scared, and what I learned from the source, who is a Trump insider, someone who talks to who talks to people in the Oval Office, people close to Trump, is that during one of Netanyahu's many visits to the U.S. this year, some figures in his retinue, Israeli agents, placed electronic devices on emergency response Secret Service vehicles. The Secret Service found them, and they reported this to the White House. These would be emergency response vehicles that would respond to an incident potentially involving the president. So yes, Trump is scared, and what I learned
intervention was staged by Bill Ackman because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote-unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called, and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside CHARLIEKIRK, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. I gotta tell you that. It felt like a threat. Not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as re-education camp. We've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. We just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you
to
go to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel, and we can make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Bill Ackman, if you would like to dispute that, I would love to hear what you say happened, because our sources and what we have, it's solid. Intervention was staged by Bill Ackman because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote-unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called, and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. You know, I gotta tell you that. It felt like a threat. Like, not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, you know. Spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, you know, re-education camp. You know, we've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. You know, we just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel and we can make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi.
Okay. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Let's see. Charlie said no. Let's see this one. Let's go.
So yesterday, as I said, the base looked at Trump and said, what the hell are you doing? Okay. And then Pam Bondi gets up there. She tries to tell us that they don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was working for another country. They don't know. They don't know.
They don't know if he's working for another country.
If he was working for another country. And yet we know, all of us know, but he was. So yesterday, as I said, what the hell are you doing? Okay. And then Pam Bondi gets up there. She tries to tell us that they don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was working for another country. They don't know. They don't know if he was working for another country. And yet we know, all of us know, that he was working for Israel. But Pam Bondi and the state, they don't know that. But all of us know that. And now the question is, why can't Trump admit that? I want to be clear. Jeffrey Epstein sexually harmed children. Okay? How can you possibly not find the courage to stand up and say the truth about who he was doing that on behalf of? The same country that factually protects American pedophiles if they move to Israel after they commit their crimes against children. We're not stupid. Everyone is waking up to what Israel is. Everyone's waking up to the stranglehold that they have in our politicians, our foreign policy. And now we're going back and we're realizing that it's maybe always been this way. That our policy is essentially, when Israel gets caught with its pants down, our government will still rush to defend them. So yesterday, as I said, the base looked at Trump and said, what the hell are you doing? Okay. And then Pam Bondi gets up there. She tries to tell us that they don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was working for another country. They don't know. They don't know if he was working for another country. And yet we know, all of us know, that he was working for Israel. But Pam Bondi and the state, they don't know that. But all of us know that. And now the question is, why can't Trump admit that? I want to be clear. Jeffrey Epstein sexually harmed children. Okay? How can you possibly not find the courage to stand up and say the truth about who he was doing that on behalf of? The same country that factually protects American pedophiles if they move to Israel after they commit their crimes against children.
So is she trying to stay on the cool that that's where Epstein could possibly be? Huh? I mean, like, what? What are we? What?
We're not stupid. Everyone's waking up to what Israel is. Everyone's waking up to the stranglehold that they have in our politicians, our foreign policy. And now we're going back and we're realizing that it's maybe always been this way. That our policy is essentially when Israel, but Pam Bondi and the state, they don't know that, but all of us know that. And now the question is, why can't Trump admit that? I want to be clear. Jeffrey Epstein sexually harmed children, okay? How can you possibly not find the courage to stand up and say the truth about who he was doing that on behalf of? The same country that factually protects American pedophiles if they move to Israel after they commit their crimes against children. We're not stupid. Everyone is waking up to what Israel is. Everyone's waking up to the stranglehold that they have in our politicians, our foreign policy. And now we're going back and we're realizing that it's maybe always been this way. That our policy is essentially when Israel gets caught with its pants down, our government will still rush to defend them. So yesterday, as I said, the base looked at Trump and
Okay, let me go here. Let me go here. Did I have? Oh, let me do this one.
Israel killed Charlie Kirk. It is plain.
Allegedly.
I don't care what your favorite influencer says. I don't
Alleged.
care what Cash Patel. Israel.
Okay, hold on. Sir, this is for entertainment purposes. This is allegedly. This is his opinion. We're just listening. Okay, let's go.
Killed Charlie Kirk. It is plain as day. I don't care what your favorite influencer says. I don't care what Cash Patel, that freaking idiot, says. Israel killed him. It just released. Did y'all see the plane? The plane got the whole info about the plane leaving. It leaves the airport that's 5 miles away for a few minutes, turns off all of its locations, which is illegal, for 45 minutes, and then turns it back on and heads in the other direction.
That's like hiding in plain. Yep, hiding in plain sight. They doing it. They doing it right in front of your face.
Guess who's been on the news and posting and tweeting all about this whole Charlie Kirk thing and denying it hard? Got the whole info about the plane leaving. It leaves the airport that's 5 miles away for a few minutes, turns off all of its locations, which is illegal, for 45 minutes, and then turns them back on and it's heading the other direction. It just got released. That plane, guess who owned it? A big-time rich Jewish donor. Guess who's been on the news and posting and tweeting all about this whole Charlie Kirk thing and denying it hard? Benjamin Netanyahu. Kind of sounds like he's nervous, like he understands. Oh, people are figuring this out. He's even claimed, no, we didn't do this. It was the Islamists, the extremists. Just like he did 9/11. Guess who did 9/11?
Allegedly.
Netanyahu. That's literally a fact. If you haven't got that far down the rabbit hole, I'm sorry, like you're lost. This is not a hard case. And I don't know whether or not the shooter is the guy that they were picturing everywhere, but I will say this, I had several people commenting towards me, saying that the rifle was in his pants and that he took the scope off and put it down his pants also, and then he had a screwdriver and screwed the scope back on once he got on top of the building. Are you an idiot? Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but have you ever shot a gun and taken the scope off and put it back on and then seen where the gun would shoot? It's nowhere close. No, you're not hitting a shot at 140 yards straight to the jugular with a gun that's had the scope pulled off and put back on and you just expect it to be on there. No. I don't know whether he was a shooter or not, but I can tell you this. The gun that they planted, that they found, it was planted and they didn't, that was not the gun. The scope was mounted too far back to even shoot it. You'd blow your eye whenever you shot it. And why did he just conveniently put it back into a box? Like, oh, here you go. Guys, this is not some trans extremist individual. This was a professional shooter, and yes, it was a professional shooter. 140 yards is a long way, and whenever your adrenaline starts pumping, have you ever shot a deer from that far? You start shaking because you get so excited. I would like to imagine that if this was a one-time shooter who's about to take their first human life,
Their adrenaline's pumping. They're nervous. They're shaking. This was not just some individual. This was a professional shooter hired by Israel because Charlie Kirk was starting to realize what was going on. And even Candace Owens said that on her show. He was beginning to come around and realize these things. And he was afraid that Israel would kill him, and they did. It's a simple answer, and that's what happened. Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
Allegedly.
It is plain as day.
Is this the same guy? Okay, so before I crash out, I got, let me go check something out over there. What does he say? What did he say? Oh,
This is a very racist
oh
society.
yeah. Yeah, no, I don't want to hear the racism right now. Candace. Odyssey.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great-uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question because it was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was after all in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed. And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. With favour the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use our best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object. It being clearly understood that nothing should be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country.
Yes, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord
Okay.
Rothschild,
Hold on. Let me. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to get there. You know when you're sleepy, you start hitting the wrong buttons. APEC explosive. Trump gets taunted in public as crisis erupt. U.S. straws the second, yeah.
What does feel a lot more finished is the Opera browser. Like, it has a music player built into the sidebar, and it is perfect, because it means you're...
One of the questions that people are asking about Charlie Kirk's assassination is why? Why exactly was he assassinated? It is true that he had this huge lead on men to the Republican Party, making them conservative with his debates. But was that enough to grant him a bullet? Is that how that works? I was asking this question, and then I got this suggestion to take a look at some clips of him while talking about Jeffrey Epstein. And
By the
when I
way,
saw
I
the
was
clips, the
subscribed.
clips were way more
I noticed that
not
I
only
wasn't
about
subscribed
Jeffrey
to
Epstein's
a lot
activities,
of different
but
people.
the
So,
possible connections with the intelligence agencies over the world. And Mossad popped up.
oh
And
wow.
we have two clips.
Okay,
This one
thank you.
was from 1 month ago, right?
Do you think there's any intel community involvement in this?
I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I am convinced, based on my own sources and my own reporting on this story, he wasn't one of ours.
So he was an American, which leads basically three options: MI6, Saudi, or Mossad.
Yep.
Which one would you choose?
I guess Mossad, given his connection to Ghislaine Maxwell.
So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's possible that that's the reason everything's getting buried, that there is some treasure trove.
How many people here believe that? Raise your hand. Okay, I'd say about half the hands think that it's being buried because of an Israeli thing.
The one time Pam Bondi was asked a question about this at the cabinet meeting, she was like, and as for whether he was an agent...
Alexander Acosta in 2007, he said he was told to treat Epstein carefully because he was an intel asset.
Well, and let me tell you the consequences of that. His subpoena, his search warrant on Jeffrey Epstein's residence was very narrow. It was not the kind of like, let's get everything. Let's see everything inside this guy's, dressers and so on. It was very, very narrowly tailored. And to this day, that's what the FBI is stuck with.
Okay, that is maybe a bit too limited. It was just a conversation with Megyn Kelly in public, and it was mostly suggesting and maybe asking Megyn Kelly what she thought about the topic. I said that, okay, that is maybe not enough. But then I saw this one from the Charlie Kirk show. This was 1 year ago, 2024, January 4, 2024. Charlie Kirk correctly identifies Jeffrey Epstein as an agent of Israel. Let's also watch this.
Lies that Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics.
I have heard those reports that Epstein himself was not that smart. That
wow.
For a physics teacher, right? Okay, he could be of a very limited understanding of the topics that the people that he surrounded himself with dominated. So maybe his true knack, his true ability was getting people together, or get to connect people, what we know as networkers. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein was a great networker, and at the same time, a networker is a very useful asset if you're an intelligence agency, because that's a way that you can connect people with people and say, hey, you know what? Charlie Kirk said that much better than I in the rest of the clip.
It's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Ooh, blackmail.
So, this one.
Ooh, blackmail. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me stretch for a minute. Oh my goodness. Ah. Yes, 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 baby. Oh, oh, wee. Oh my goodness. I am going to be no good. Mm-mm-mm.
And park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
So this one question that I have, I said mistakenly that this clip was from 1 month ago. It was actually from 2 months ago, July 12th, 2025, when he was talking with Megyn Kelly about the topic. One thing is 1 year ago in January 2024, but one thing is right now when Trump is in office. You know how the scandal of all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and how Trump has addressed it, and whatever Pam Bondi has done with that case, it has been uncomfortable to see all the shenanigans happening. But
I agree.
You see that just 2 months ago, Charlie Kirk was still having conversations and inviting his guests to have conversations about the possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was not just a random guy who knew how to connect people to one another, which is basically a human LinkedIn, but no, he was actually an intelligence asset. So I know that Charlie Kirk was really emotional when Trump became president of the United States. So the part that I don't understand is why does he keep bringing this up? And my only theory about this is that he really believed that this had to do with some kind of intelligence agency, maybe from the United States, maybe from the MI6, maybe from the Saudis, but in his own words, highly likely from Mossad, Israeli intelligence. So why would he kick that hornet's nest 2 months ago? And knowing everything that was going on with the recording, with Dan Bongino just sweaty on those interviews, Kash Patel going back and forward and back, Pam Bondi just doing all that kind of crazy stuff. That's the thing that he really wanted to get to, let's say, down the rabbit hole. They could find all the truth. As Megyn Kelly said, the treasure trove that may be laid somewhere, or at least he was curious about that. The problem is that what do they say about cats?
Curiosity, kill the cat.
Curiosity, kill the cat. I am just having crazy theories in here But I could understand the timing of Charlie Kirk saying this in 2024 when Biden was in office. It was a bit different when Trump was in office, and Trump was it is still trying to say, hey, you know what, this is just a bunch of documents fixed, contaminated by the Democrats, and that's what he says when it's a hoax. But if you say that Epstein was some kind of asset, that complicates things a lot. Again, this is still in developing. We still want to know who shot Charlie Kirk and why, and understand their motives, because, well, this was, of course, this is a political assassination. There's no doubt about that. But we want to know who was the shooter and who hired the shooter. Sadly, at this point, it is highly likely that the shooter is gonna appear dead somewhere. And we wouldn't even have a real confirmation that
it was the real shooter.
Whoever they find is gonna be the shooter, so we'll still have to wait. I would really love to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique.
Thank you, Jesus.
Much love and bliss.
Wow, this is just, ugh.
Touch me again and you're going to find out.
State of law. The use of blackmail has been a standard part of American politics for a long time. This is a murder machine. This is not a state of law.
Let me see.
Israel doesn't want a ceasefire. It wants to kill as many Palestinians as it can or ethnically cleanse them.
Jeffrey Sachs just exposed Israel's method for blackmailing U.S. politicians and the U.S. government in general, especially as it pertains to Middle East foreign policy and Gaza. He gets into some of the historical uses of blackmail, how Epstein figures into this, and why it makes U.S. politicians turn a blind eye to Israel's assassination of foreign officials. So let's get his take on this. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Professor Sachs, what is your take on yesterday's Israeli and U.S. supported attack on Doha?
Illegal, reckless, profoundly destabilizing. Again, this is just like the attack on Iran a few weeks ago, where the attack was to kill the negotiators of ongoing negotiations.
Let's say he's an informant.
Honestly, Israel can yell Hamas all it wants. Who they tried to kill yesterday were the people negotiating the ceasefire. Israel doesn't want a ceasefire. It wants to kill as many Palestinians as it can, or ethnically cleanse them, or crush them, one way or another. It doesn't want a ceasefire. That's why they bombed Doha, tried to kill the negotiators, and ordered their troops into Gaza City all on the same day, with hundreds of thousands of Palestinians clinging to their lives right now facing another onslaught. This is a murder machine. This is not a state of law.
Yeah, that's right, and it seems like this was yet another neighbor that Israel has attacked since October 7th. It makes it the 7th country. It's not really too usual that a country just attacks all of its neighbors militarily. You had them assassinating Yemeni officials just a few weeks ago, but don't get me wrong, Netanyahu loves the fact that there are hostages. Those 50 hostages, they're not working to try to free those hostages. He needs those hostages to serve as a propaganda tool such that he can justify to his populace moving in and occupying Gaza. Even though the hostages Hamas is willing to exchange, and they were willing to exchange throughout the ceasefire that Trump arranged when he came into office, Netanyahu never wanted to abide by that. violated it almost right away, and now the remaining hostages are just there as a propaganda tool. He loves that. And the disparity, by the way, is something like 50 Hamas hostages that they have of
If your
Israel's,
integrity
and
can be
Israel has
brought,
something
you
like
never really have. I
3,500
agree.
Palestinian hostages that aren't even charged with crimes. There's just secret evidence against them. That is what we're dealing with.
And by the way, Trump said he didn't even know about it for something that's been
he never
prepared,
knows.
obviously, for many, many weeks.
He never
And
knows.
it's quite possible he doesn't know about it.
No,
Because
he
it's
knows.
quite possible that he's basically the figurehead, and that the Mossad and the CIA certainly knew about it.
Well, is it that he didn't know about it, or he's just looking the other way when it comes to it?
Yeah.
Just like he does the genocide in general in Gaza, just says, hey, that's an Israeli choice. The assassination of these figures in Qatar, nope, Israel did that on their
Oh,
own.
yeah, Jamie, that's what I
is it,
think.
him looking the other way about the fact that Israel's dragging the U.S. into a war versus Iran, which they did. I think it's more likely he's just looking the other
he
way,
sold us. I told you
in fact, by AIPAC and Israel.
But maybe they didn't happen to mention
bonded. I mean, he bailed him out financially.
This is absolutely possible in our system.
So the blackmail.
Referred to the dominance of Israel over Washington as one of blackmail.
Oh, because it's well understood that the use of blackmail has been a standard part of American politics for a long time. We don't know most of it, but we certainly know enough that Epstein, for example, was a Mossad agent and engaged in gathering compromising materials, let us say, of the American political class. And that's why the files suddenly weren't there. That's why Donald Trump's signature isn't his signature.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on. This is so sad and so pathetic.
Now that
I think it's a plausible scenario that Epstein was running a blackmail operation on behalf of Israel. We know a lot of the circumstantial dots are connected with Israel and Israeli intelligence in mind. We've talked about that endlessly on this channel. His association with Ehud Barak, a former IDF intelligence officer, and the Prime Minister of Israel, who lived with him for prolonged periods. His associations with Adnan Khashoggi and Douglas Leese, being the protege of Israel's most famous spy ever, Robert Maxwell. His association with Ari Ben-Menashe, saying that Epstein was conducting a blackmail operation. But where I'll depart from Jeff Sachs here is I don't think he was a Mossad agent, a card-carrying member of Mossad. I don't think that. I think he was a Mossad asset, an access asset, in fact, in a contractual situation of sorts, extracting prominent people's information in the United States, the prominent, very, very embarrassing information to bend them to your will. If you're Israel, that's a service that you want to pay for. And it's not unprecedented. Let's say that you don't agree with that this was a blackmail operation, this sex trafficking ring. Throw that to the wayside. There is historical precedent that this is what Israeli intelligence does. You can go back to the Shin Bet incident in 1982, Google that or look into that. That's where a U.S. consulate employee was, blackmailed over an operation where an Israeli woman was trying to extract information from him, and when he didn't give it over, they tried to place him in a compromising situation over a potential abortion dispute. Read about that. That's out there. Also, we know Netanyahu tried to say, hey, I have this audio tape of you, Bill Clinton, in your illicit affair with Monica Lewinsky, and I'm going to release it unless you free Jonathan Pollard. He tried to do that, and Pollard was an Israeli serving in the CIA, I say because he was spying. He was extracting information from the U.S. to Israel, and by the way, Israel gave that information to the Soviet Union when this happened. So there's a long track record of this. Ari Ben-Menashe was a whistleblower that blew the door open on a lot of this stuff. It's documented record.
Why is it that the Doha radar and air defenses were down when the Israelis attacked? Aren't the radar and air defenses for Doha operated by the enormous U.S. military base right outside of Doha?
Wouldn't that be nice to know how that happened? Again, Donald Trump may well have been the last to know. It's possible. I don't doubt it. But the United States government surely knew. Israel was not flying all that way without the U.S. security apparatus absolutely knowing what was happening.
Yeah, this is just like when they tried to deny that any part of the U.S. government knew about the Ukrainian strike against Russian nuclear bombers a few months ago. And, oh, hey, we had no idea. This operation was 18 months in the making or something like that, but no one had any idea. Well, that's just stupid. And, you know, the American people, especially dissidents that question these narratives, aren't buying it whatsoever.
Period.
Would Netanyahu have said, I want your permission to do it, or we're doing it?
No, clearly he doesn't have to ask any permission because he knows that the permission will be granted. So there's nothing to ask. It's always granted by the U.S. He can give deniability to Donald Trump or he doesn't even have to ask. So no, but Mossad and the CIA coordinate. That's for sure.
Well, we know that that is true. That's how Israel got the U.S. into a war versus Iran. That's why the U.S. doesn't care about Israel trying to expand its borders into Syria and Lebanon by expanding West Bank settlements, looks the other way about the occupation of Gaza, about the assassination of Yemeni officials, about this assassination, about dragging the U.S. into a war with Iran over and over again. There's just constant deference from the United States to Israel. To say it's odd isn't even the right word because it's such a perverted incentive structure whereby the benefactor, the U.S., that gave Israel $20 billion last year, you know, is influenced more in the other direction, that Israel has more influence in our government. It's totally criminal.
We know that the Royal Air Force jets refueled the Israeli jets midair. If the RAF was involved, MI6 was involved. If MI6 was involved, CIA was involved. It doesn't take very much to connect these dots.
Of course. This is the most important point. We are not run as a democracy. Donald Trump may be in no more position to do much about this than we are. This is Mossad, which is a global killing machine. And by the way, all the Israeli politicians came out immediately after this and said, we will go anywhere. Our long arm reaches anywhere. Yeah, they feel absolutely the impunity to murder people anywhere.
Wow.
And to bomb people anywhere. And
yeah, and we're just supposed to repeat and parrot the lines. Israel's just defending itself after these assassinations. Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East. They were just minding their own business and all their neighbors want to attack them, but it's been constant strings of attack by them and a genocide by them. That's the truth. It's not Israel defending itself. It's Israel conducting mass murder and genocide on the bankroll of the U.S.
Yeah, and then Trump makes excuses and blames, like I'm talking about what happened here, blames somebody else, and he knows that it wasn't
criminal government.
That's why
it wasn't them.
Engaged in wars everywhere right now.
Here's the president yesterday. I'd like your views on whether his denial is credible. Chris, number 16.
Israeli strike earlier today.
Well, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't have to do that. I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this: we want the hostages back, but we are not thrilled about the way that went down today.
Did he notify you in advance about that? Did Israel tell you in advance?
No.
So you were caught by surprise.
Lies.
I'm never surprised by anything, especially when it comes to the Middle East.
How did you learn about this happening?
I'll be giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this. I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
unhappy about it. He's not going to threaten to withhold aid to Israel, right? For sabotaging this attempt to get the hostages back. Israel clearly doesn't want the hostages back. It wants an ethnic cleansing campaign. It wants to rid Gaza of Palestinians so that it can take it over. And the residuals will be a concentration camp. And that, if you think that's hyperbole, look at what Israel Katz has said about this, the creation of a concentration zone in the ruins where Rafah once stood. This has been blasted even by Ehud Olmert, the former prime minister of Israel, saying that this is a humanitarian disaster, and the comparisons to the Holocaust can't be denied. It is criminal.
Do you think the Qataris will ask for that $400 million jet back that they gave to the president personally?
Sad to say they won't. They won't.
Do you think they'll close down the American air base there, which is the largest in the Middle East, and tell the U.S. to go home?
No, they won't do that either. It's so sad how we're trapped in this.
How we're trapped. We are trapped.
Bizarre, opaque, Israel-led debacle after debacle.
Wow.
Everyone remains a bit supine in this, even Donald Trump, who was disappointed and found out at the last moment and made the call, by the way, supposedly to warn the Qatar side as the bombs were actually dropping.
Yeah, this is being disappointed, like Trump was disappointed in Israel for breaking the ceasefire with Iran at the end of the 12-day war, by the way, which that wasn't the end, it still continues. No repercussions are going to happen toward Netanyahu, no threats of aid ending. You don't see that many prominent U.S. politicians condemning this or denouncing this or threatening to withhold aid from Israel. Thankfully, in addition to a few good dissident leftists, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie are doing that. Not Trump, not the Trump that was given $100 million from Miriam Adelson.
Talk about a figurehead.
Mm-hmm.
That's a figurehead. He didn't express displeasure. How could we not have known from our ally? Of course they knew. But maybe he should figure out why he wasn't told.
Can Marco Rubio be the Secretary of State and the National Security Advisor at the same time? I don't mean legally, can he? But as a practical matter, can he? Is not the National Security Advisor someone whose office is right outside of the Oval Office with a huge staff reporting to him in the West Wing, manned by professionals who analyze intelligence and military and economic information that report to the president? Does Donald Trump have the benefit of all that anymore?
As a practical matter, I don't know whether
I'm almost fell asleep.
Either Secretary
of
State
goodness.
or National Security Advisor, because
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's a twisted neocon that never saw a war he doesn't want to wage.
Okay,
never
y'all,
saw
I
sanctions
was.
he didn't want to oppose.
I'm finna go to sleep. I almost hit myself with the phone. Okay, y'all have a good one. Good night. Thank you. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I greatly appreciate it. Good night.